History is not written, it's lived.
2 seconds. Bullet.
And then left for others to write about. Over the past 3 decades, legends have been born.
McNamara, a deep.
Moments have been seized.
UConn survive.
The material for the history books is still in the making.
To Blackwell for the win.
These are the leading characters in the next chapter. The players headlining Broadway in the world's most electric city on its most historic stage.
Oh my goodness!
As it has been for 30 years.
It is his show at the moment.
The best show in town. The Big East Championship.
Look at the celebration. Mullen, a tip of the hat. UConn survive.
Hawkins is upset.
Look at you here.
Some sideline show.
And welcome back to Madison Square Garden, everybody. The continuation of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods and ESPN's coverage of the 2009 Big East Championship. 4th game of the day, the last quarterfinal game. Number 20, Syracuse, the 6th seed, against number 4, Connecticut. They're the 3rd seed in this Big East Championship. Earlier today, Louisville beat Providence. Villanova, a last-second bucket to oust Marquette. And the first upset, West Virginia beat Pittsburgh earlier tonight. They'll get the winner of this ball game between Connecticut and Syracuse. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, welcome back to the Garden. These two teams played once in the regular season in February in Storrs, Connecticut. The Huskies won 63-49. That was the lowest point total of the year for Syracuse. They averaged 80 points per game. And Hasheem Thabeet, it was one of those games he dominated.
You know, the Big East Co-Player of the Year, the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Hasheem Thabeet had 16 rebounds in the first meeting. Also blocked 7 shots, changed countless others. And you really have to go right into his chest. If you give him space or allow him on a drive to come over from the weak side, he's going to block it or change it. Syracuse has to change their approach and be tougher with Hasheem Thabeet.
And Bill, it's a Syracuse team that's hot. They've won 5 in a row after their victory here over Seton Hall last night, and they were impressive. What's their approach tonight?
Well, as Jim Boeheim said, we got to do something about the beat. We got to move them around. We got to pass the ball. Find people. They were terrific in the open floor. You can beat the beat down on occasion, making great decisions. Flynn was super. They had a bunch of assists without any defense, but giving it up beautifully. That's going to have to prevail, and also move Arinzi outside to do some damage with the beat away from the rim.
Syracuse had a championship record 30 assists last night in the win over the Hall. They beat the Pirates 89-74. Here's our Star Watch presented by IBM.
And for Syracuse, Johnny Flynn had 19 points, 11 assists against Seton Hall. He is the motor behind this Syracuse team.
And of course, the motor for Connecticut, Price. They need big numbers for him, bigger than the 13. He can be very tough in the high ball screen and getting to the rim.
Both are finalists for the Cousy Award, the best point guard in the country among the 17 finalists. Syracuse 24-8, 11-7 in conference. Johnny Flynn and Eric Devendorf, the backcourt. Up front, the powerful duo of Rick Jackson and Arinzi Onuaku, and Paul Harris is pretty powerful as well at 6'4" and a very solid 230 pounds. Connecticut is 27-3, 15-3 in conference, the 6th time they've won 15 or more in a Big East regular season. The freshman Kemba Walker in for Jerome Dyson out with an injury, and A.J. Price in the backcourt. And up front, the co-Big East Player of the Year in the conference, Hasheem Thabeet, shared that honor with DeJuan Blair of Pittsburgh. Stanley Robinson and Jeff Adrian are the forwards. Adrian's their leading scorer for the year at just under 14 points per game. It's a balanced Connecticut scoring attack. Connecticut has lost 3 straight at the Big East tournament, and they've played Syracuse in 3 of the last 4 Big East tournaments. And what a matchup between these two coaches, Jim Boeheim and Jim Calhoun, familiar with each other. They've combined for 1,595 career wins, 3 national titles, 79 NCAA tournament wins, 54 20-win seasons. They're the 2 winningest coaches in Big East history. They've won a combined 18 Big East regular season titles and 11 Big East tournament championships. Both are in the Hall of Fame. Other than that, neither one of them's done much.
Yeah.
What a waste of careers. Maybe they'll step up in the tournament here.
Syracuse in the orange, Hasheem Thabeet, and Connecticut in the white. Jeff Adrian, third-team All-Conference. A.J. Price was a second-team All-Conference player. And, of course, they're without Jerome Dyson. He was injured, suffered a knee injury in that regular season meeting against Syracuse. The Huskies are 4-2 since he went down. They were 23-1 when they had Dyson, and Thabeet, as you might expect, won the tip.
Hey, Sean, he's killing me. And Jay, 2-3 zone with some prisoners.
Syracuse in those Digger Phelps orange highlighter uniforms tonight.
They'll try to get the ball into the middle of the zone or on the baseline, play inside out.
Now, this kid's tough. I mean, he gets going, gets that open look. He can convert those, but rebounding the key.
And Adrian got an offensive rebound. Jim Boeheim said, we have to rebound. They haven't done it so far. Walker to Thabeet. He tried to tip it, and it looked like he might catch it and flush it, but went for the tip instead and missed it.
Good poise. They're going to do a lot of ball screens.
Owaku, and it is blocked by Robinson coming over to help Thabeet, but that's the approach Jim Boeheim wants. We didn't approach attacking Thabeet the right way.
And the big thing, too, is that you've got to create a passing lane, too, to get help from the other side, like Robinson.
Anytime you play against a shot blocker, especially against Thabeet, you have to take away space. Space is what he uses to block shots.
Paul Harris, the bucket, a big roar went up there. A lot of Syracuse fans here. Syracuse about a 5-hour drive from the city. They have a lot of alumni in this New York City area. Thabeet wound up on the floor and then turned it over. Syracuse runs, and Price let Flynn lay it in.
What a good give at half court. You give a guy a chance to go strong to the rim on a great angle.
And Bill, that's where Thabeet's got to get so much stronger. He doesn't have a strong base. He caught the ball in the post. He should be able to hang on to it and kick it back out to play inside-out basketball.
That's where he's strong, and he got the neck. Adrian, great look.
A simple little high-low. Get the ball to the high post and look immediately down for the dump down.
Rick Jackson the foul for the third game in a row. Jim Boeheim has given Jackson the hook less than 3 minutes into the game. They've won the last two, so he might keep doing it.
Well, he didn't rotate. You got to rotate back, have a sense of urgency.
He's a little more outspoken than he was in the locker room, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was very subdued.
Very subdued. Thabeet misses the free throw. And it comes down to Devendorf and then knocked out of bounds by Walker. Jackson was replaced by Christoph Ongenat, and Boeheim apparently wasn't happy to bark sideways into his ear. He wants to get right in Jackson's face.
You didn't turn that term paper in the right time. Nice inside screen.
Owaku timing his move. Got a good shot but missed it. Harris kept it alive. Harris in the lane a long time. Flips it out for Devendorf. Harris, boy, that was a struggle, but in the end they scored.
Great decision by Devendorf, though. Poise, patience.
Adrian from the free throw line, the senior from Brookline, Massachusetts. Over 1,500 points, over 1,000 rebounds. Just the fifth Connecticut player ever with 15 and 1,500 points and 1,000 rebounds.
Tough shot. Ooh. They got to do a better job, Syracuse, covering that foul line. They had to dump down in the jumper.
These ball screens set by Owaku a little bit more difficult. Well, they've been a little bit easier to deal with because he doesn't pick and pop.
Walker fouled by Devendorf after Flynn's miss led to a break opportunity for the Huskies.
Now watch Owaku here going right into Thabeet. Now Thabeet's got to put that arm bar out there because he's letting him get into his body. I mean, he just backed him right underneath the basket. Should have scored there, just missed it. That was a good job by Owaku, but Thabeet has got to do his work earlier.
It looked like he gave up on the arm bar, didn't it? He had it there and then he released.
It's almost like he was trying to protect himself, but he's got to use that to keep space. That space is going to be the difference in him blocking shots or picking up fouls.
The beat is 7'3", 263 pounds from Tanzania. Walker, 74.5% from the line, misses 2. And on a walk to a good block out on Thabit. Flynn, who had a double-double last night, 19 points and 11 assists.
I think they're very good at using screens.
Davendorf hand check called against A.J. Price, the senior from Amityville, New York, with his first foul. Connecticut, the last team to begin play in this year's Big East Championship for Jim Calhoun. He's won 6 Big East championships. The last tournament title that was back in 2004. We've had a dry spell in recent years here in New York City.
First off with the tip back, gets the open look.
And they could not capitalize as the corner jumper didn't fall for Paul Harris. In 1 game and out the last 2 years here at Madison Square Garden for Connecticut.
Could you imagine these guys, all the games they have seen, viewed, film, tape, and then win.
Last year, Connecticut was ousted by West Virginia, 2 years ago by Syracuse. Adrian earns a trip to the line.
Just a simple little ball screen against the top of that zone. There's almost a horn set with the 2 elbows, and Adrian just stepped right into the middle.
He's really been a factor early.
He's been active, which he needs to be.
First foul on Otawaku. Adrian slumping at the free throw line, 64% for the year, but over the last 5 games, just 50%. And Connecticut as a team tonight is 0 for 4. And now 1 for 5. 1 point lead for the Orange, 3.5 in.
Walker trying to bump and keep Flynn ahead of him. Very important. There's that inside screen, point guard on the center. Look at it backing the ball away in.
And again, help for Thabit. Adrian came over to block it. Walker lofted it up for Stanley Robinson.
And Robinson just pointed up, get it up there. Walker getting a chance to start responding more than adequately on defense, and a good spark on the O.
When Otawaku gets the ball down low, he has got to make a quicker move. It's strong, but it's slow, and that's allowing either Adrian or Stanley Robinson to come over and block the shot instead of Thabit.
Harris maybe got stuck in the air. You get the sense they told the inside guys for Syracuse to play like DeJuan Blair played against them.
I agree. I think exactly.
And it's almost like he's dribbling to get as close to Thabit's chest as he can to get up into his chest.
But that was their game plan the first time they played. Syracuse just didn't execute it. They had the same game plan as Pittsburgh.
The only thing, Sean, that they can do is the weak side guy got 2 blocks. He's got to get free. But present a passing lane, the offensive man.
See, I think Otawaku's just got to make the move quicker, because I don't think he's a good enough passer to exploit that.
Well, Adrian wide open, missed the dunk. Thabit wound up with it. Thabit lost the ball as he was brushed by Ongenat. Now Flynn off for Ongenat, and he turned away from Thabit.
A wise Belgian.
Devendorf did not score in the first half last night. He had 19 points in the second half against the Hall. He scores in the first half tonight.
Now you would think with all the pressure on the inside people, the outside guys are going to get open opportunities.
Thabit one-on-one on Otawaku. Robinson cut in from the corner and was fouled. John Cal, Bob Donato, and James Breeding are the officials in this one, and Bobby Donato called Harris for his first.
Not bad, huh? High flying, and they counter.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by the 2009 Cadillac CTS.
Back at Madison Square Garden, hosting the Big East Championship for the 27th straight year. It's the longest running conference tournament, one venue in the country. Syracuse had great success here in this event over the years, leading Connecticut by 1. The Huskies playing their 7th game without the junior guard Jerome Dyson, who is averaging better than 13 points per game. What do they lose with him out?
Just a huge blow. They lose their toughest player overall, I think, especially defensively, and also a slasher that can get to the basket and break off a play.
And with more on Dyson, here's Alan Hopkins.
Thanks, Sean. Well, it was a month ago yesterday that Jerome Dyson hurt his knee that resulted into his season-ending knee surgery. I talked to Jerome earlier today when the team got to the arena. He said the knee is doing better than he expected. He expects to be back sometime right around the fall time. But the one thing he did say is that he felt like he let his teammates down, but they did a good job of picking up. He's here with the team, hoping to support them as they try to get off the schneid here in New York the last couple of years, gentlemen.
Jim Calhoun felt they had a decent chance to win a national championship this year, and he knows what it takes to do that. With Dyson, they still have a chance, not as good, obviously, without Dyson. Here's Stanley Robinson at the free throw line, junior from Birmingham, Alabama, who missed the first 8 games of the season for personal reasons, took a leave of absence, and has spent a lot of the year just working back into form. Those numbers are well down from a year ago when he averaged 10.5 points and 6.5 rebounds.
He has showed size, though, around the rim. You know what he can do. He's got great elevation, follows his own missed free throw. Who's got the shooter?
Well, he knew it was going to be short. He took off after it, and it's a 2-point lead for UConn with 14:24 left in the first half.
Well, one of the fundamental principles when you are in defense on the free throw line, somebody's got to take the shooter and put a body on the shooter.
And playing small. Jimmy said he might do that. Routen's on the floor. And kick it out. He had an open look.
And Rick Jackson foregoing the advice offered by the Sage one, and he scored.
Jackson used that off arm. I mean, in the NBA, that would have been an offensive foul. He used that off arm to get right into Thabit and keep him from jumping to block that shot.
And John, you mentioned national championship. Walker is really growing. He's got to grow quickly because he's going to be forced to play a lot. Great defense by Routens. Took the legs.
We saw Robinson coming in. They tried that dunk again. Robinson electrified the Husky fans earlier. Now it's Devendorf rattling home a 3.
When you close out like that, wise, intelligent offensive players know how to deal with you.
Yeah, that shot fake without the dribble and putting that shot up, that is still not an easy shot. He drilled it.
Craig Austrian for Connecticut playing guard. He's been in a scoring slump since Dyson went out, in a shooting slump. Devendorf all the way to the bucket, a 5-point advantage for the Cuse.
And that was made by Routen's steal and then filling the lane. He kept the defense honest, froze him to let Devendorf get to the 10.
Well, without Price in the ball game, not a good perimeter shooting UConn team.
That's one area they really do miss Dyson. He was a 3-point threat. 35% from 3, out of bounds to Connecticut.
And there's that little opportunity, and that fill really keeps everybody at home, making sure in case the 3 occurs, he's got to be covered.
Nice arrow, Bill.
Thank you. One of my better ones.
It was. Price back in the game, and he buries a 3 from the corner. His first bucket of the night.
In the last 5 games, 18 of the 23 made threes by UConn have been by Price. He's the only guy that's really knocking shots down.
In the last 3 games, he's 13 out of 25 from 3, better than 50%. And that's part of Andy Routen's game as he makes his first bucket of the night with a deep 3.
Well, it's interesting. Thabit isn't really playing anybody. And Routen's able to get around those bumps out top. But what range?
Well, Thabit is just standing against this zone. Doesn't really move around against it. He just stands on that low block.
They were covering this a little bit better with raking of the post.
Routen's the last to touch. It'll be Connecticut ball down by 5.
And you see right in here, Jay, he's not the least bit interested because he sort of gets in the way, too, of guys trying to play their man. And that's a tough match for Robinson on Routens.
Scotty Harrelson, who was deep on the bench early in the year, seeing more and more playing time lately, is into the ball game, a 6'4" guard in the 30s. Freshman out of Jackson, Mississippi, the player of the year in Mississippi last year.
Mostly 3, 6 for 20.
Adrian a miss. Adrian had Routens reached in. And Andy Routens is called for the foul. His first. Syracuse by 5. And then there were 4. Coming up, our countdown to the top 30 plays of the last 30 seasons winds down. It's play number 4.
Buffalo Wild Wings presents the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. Number 4, Edney goes the distance.
In the tie, it's Edney. 3 seconds, 2. Edney across midcourt. Can he get the shot away? It's up. It's good. UCLA wins. At the buzzer, Tyus Edney drives the length of the floor. And number 1 is not yet done.
No, indeed. One of the great plays of the last 30 years. That's number 4. To see the third greatest play, tune in tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, during the Big East semifinal between West Virginia and the winner of this ball game between Syracuse and Connecticut. Will reveal the number 1 play of the last 30 years on Sunday during the ACC championship.
I think Edney's a Connecticut kid, if I'm not mistaken. Went west to play.
From the Nutmeg State?
Yeah. Huh?
I'm not sure that's correct, but Bill, you're always
well,
right.
Very seldom.
I bet the house.
Throw it out there.
Harrelson to Walker, into Adrian with Thabit and Price for Connecticut. It went right through the hands of Scotty Harrelson.
You know, that zone has done a nicer job handling Adrian. Early in the game, he had what he wanted. Now they come in and you've seen steals and forced passes.
Well, when he plays in that high-low, if you get right on Thabit, that's a tough catch for him.
Routens. And a rebound, Onjanot, he might have pushed off. John Cal has the whistle, and Christoph Onjanot has his first foul.
Interesting, Syracuse first ran a double stack and got an easy jump shot for Routens, one that he normally would convert. Just eliminating the big guy with that particular play to beat.
Adrian out. Saw Gavin Edwards trot in, 6'9" junior out of Gilbert, Arizona, whose dad Earl Edwards played in the NFL for 11 years.
I think that UConn has to start dribble penetrating the gaps of this zone. You can't just pass it around the perimeter.
And this is the guy to do it, Jay. Price. That's what they need. Give him a little screen, do some damage. Zone makes you stand still, though. Active hands, lengthy.
Quick ball movement, 5 to shoot. Walker challenged by Routens. The beat just plucked it out of midair.
Pretty.
Price to Edwards for the easy 2.
Nice pass out by Thabit, and then the dribble penetration by A.J. Price. That was well done.
And the rebounding concerns that Jim Boeheim had being realized. His team has been outboarded by 5 so far. Devendorf trying into the lane. It bounced out. Last touch by Edwards.
The beat grabs the offensive rebound. He doesn't have an angle to put it back up again, so intelligently he looks back out, perhaps for an open 3, but for the drive. Jackson helps up, and an easy basket for UConn.
Nice tip, Edwards.
Edwards is pretty active defensively. He does a good job whenever he points their press full court. Does a really good job.
He had a memorable performance in their big win over Gonzaga. Double-double, 14 points, 12 rebounds. The guy who averages under 4 points per game. Routens missed the 3 on the move, and Edwards rips away the rebound.
Good solid minutes by Gavin.
They can get it to Edwards in the middle of that zone.
He's not the guy to make that jump shot.
No, but he can catch it and flash, flash in and then make a play.
You know what's not a bad, you can't change your offense, but run a guard in there. Because it's like a fast break now. Jump shot, dump down, penetration. Just like that.
Walker beautifully done to miss the shot. Harris the rebound. The Cuse looks to run. Flynn dumped it off, and Jackson was fouled on the way up. More than midway through the first half, Syracuse leading by 3. The winner of this game will play West Virginia, which upset Pittsburgh earlier tonight. This afternoon it was Louisville, likely ending Providence's dreams of an NCAA tournament bid, and Villanova on a last-second shot by Dwayne Anderson beat Marquette after the Golden Eagles had rallied from 17 down to take a late lead.
You know, when you watch guys play as coaches, Jim Boeheim pushing the ball down the floor. Thabit ends up involved in that play late because they ran and tried to keep him out of the coverage.
And the free throw woes continue for Syracuse. Brutal from the line last night. 6 out of 20 to drop the season percentage down to 63.3. 14th in the Big East. Only DePaul and South Florida worse.
If they don't improve their percentage, you're going to stop sending money.
If that was the standard, I would have stopped sending money a long time ago. It's been a bad free throw shooting team for much of their recent history. A.J. Price makes it a 1-point game.
If you'd start sending some money, they might make more.
That is true.
And the quickness to cover, huh?
Flynn, nicely done. Leaned his chest in. He doesn't look very big, but he is powerful. Johnny Flynn at 6 feet, 185 pounds.
He and Harris must have some little elbow race, huh? God, they are built. Same town.
Playing together in Niagara Falls, New York, on a state championship high school team. Price a deep three with Roughton's running out at him, and we're tied at 20.
He hits big shots, too.
How about his Marquette game this year? That's as good as I've seen him play.
With 36 points in their win at Marquette. That A.J. Price, Robinson way up in the air. Could not squeeze the rebound.
Well, not too bad, huh? A little used to the bounce, and here's Flynn, Jay. This kid, the strength, the kiss as well. And
a little stop and go move, and you let him bounce into that shot. And it's pretty to watch. You've got to make him put it on the deck. You can't let him get rhythm into a shot.
And making a 36-point game for Price. They go inside to Onawaku. Only 4 other Huskies have ever scored 35 points or more in a Big East game. Harris the bucket, and you had to go back 10 years to the last one. Richard Hamilton, Ray Allen, Donyell Marshall, and Chris Smith are the others. So that is great company in which A.J. Price resides.
That last trip, Onawaku, very patient, kicked it out. They got to go. Look at the hands there.
They're all over it. Wow.
Away with a shove of Adrian, and Robinson missed the dunk, and a long rebound gives Syracuse a 4-on-3 break. Devendorf had it rejected by Edwards. That'll lead to some acrobatics from Robinson.
Oh, Birmingham, high flyer. Shot blocking.
And while they admired the dunk, they were a little slow to recognize Harris in the corner. He went strong to the goal and got fouled.
Well, there's a lot of neighborhoods in New York, but this is Mr. Robinson's in the open floor. Why don't you do this one, Jay? Send it in.
My goodness, big surprises there. And you'd have to say if Oklahoma State was on the bubble, they're in now, aren't they?
You would think.
Monster win.
You would think.
And no #1 seed for Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament.
That would be my guess.
No, well,
depends on what. I think it depends on what happens with Louisville and Michigan State.
But a lot of people thought they weren't a #1 coming into the weekend, so how could they really move up to that if, in fact, they weren't a #1 going into the weekend when they get ousted like that?
Yeah, well, that assumes everybody that was saying that is right. But I agree with you. I don't think they will get it. But
as we all know, it only matters what you say.
Exactly.
Else.
Bubble Boy.
Thank you for.
Hey, Jay.
Thank you for saying
Jay,
that.
I think I know the answer to this, but what's the most points you've scored consecutively in your career? I mean, did you ever get
like Singletary at 29 in a row last night?
What was your?
Heck no.
By the way, I had a text message from a Hall of Fame coach in women's basketball. He said there was no way you would have been the Ivy League Player of the Year, as you claimed, because you couldn't score in any league.
It was Gino Auriemma.
It supports my theory.
And he is absolutely wrong.
Congratulations to Gino. You talk about the best team in the country. He has the best team in the country. The UConn women dominating women's basketball, undefeated as they head toward the NCAA tournament.
You know, I misspoke when I said I would have been Ivy League Player of the Year. I shouldn't have said that. I would have been 2-time Ivy League Player of the Year.
And right now, Robinson stepping up, playing much better basketball.
Thank you for changing the subject, Bill.
I didn't want him to die on the line.
7 minutes to go in the half, a tie game. These two usually play terrific ball games. James Breeding says that ball was last touched by UConn.
And you're always looking for somebody to step up as you get toward the end. Picture perfect release. He's a medium range guy, not a three-point shooter.
Well, and he's been more productive over his last few games. His last 3, he's averaging just under 10 points, just under 10 rebounds.
And there's your theory, Jay. No homework done by Khabib. Let him duck in, and then the little jump hook with the wide shoulders.
No, he doesn't do his work early. He just stands behind, and he allows himself to get pushed around. and he needs to do his work early. He's never going to.
He finally got his first bucket in there against the beat. Now he defended Adrian.
Nice screen by Adrian.
Boy, does Robinson get up in the air, missed that jump shot. Harris the rebound and the push.
Harris just pushed the beat out of the way. And he's getting pushed around by guards now.
This is a tough match now. If he can make that jump shot, Robinson's in trouble.
Boeheim wanted a foul on the shot. He doesn't get it. Routen's tried to surprise Stanley Robinson. 6 minutes to go in the half. Syracuse by 2.
And look how they stretch this zone, guys. I mean, they really come out on you. I think it's much more aggressive than I recall the last couple of years.
Well, and also the big guys for UConn are just standing.
This is not his game right here.
Price. And he was fouled by Routen. He didn't like the call and barked at Bob Donato. And that'll be a 3-shot opportunity. It's the second personal on Andy Routen.
And Price is good with his legs, too. I mean, smart, you know? See the leg go out there?
You know what was really good about that from an offensive standpoint was UConn played inside out. They got the ball inside, they looked out, and that's what got that opening and the bad closeout and foul.
So it's A.J. Price at the line. Not far from here on the island, Amityville, New York, where he played on a couple of state championship teams in high school.
The original Amityville Horror, Shelton Jones at St. John's a few years ago. Played for Luigi.
A.J.'s dad, Tony, was a fine player at Penn on their Final Four team. Bob Weinauer back in 1979. The Beat will get a breather, and Gavin Edwards has returned for UConn.
Well, that 79 Penn team went to the Final Four before George Mason in 2006. That was the last mid-major to go to a Final Four.
Just a good thing you were in the Ivy League then, because you would have dominated Penn. You were in the Ivy League.
Why would you say mid-major if Bill Bradley played for them? Think of that.
Bill Bradley didn't play for Penn.
Well, Princeton, in the league, excuse me. Your favorite conference.
Bill Bradley was a little bit too contemporary a reference for Bill to keep it straight. Walker the foul. And now Jim Calhoun. Leave the talking with the officials to me, please.
Jim, the great arbitrator.
Whoops. Walker saying Edwards is the last to touch it, but James Breeding was not swayed. Syracuse's first turnover of the night, nearly 15 minutes into the ball game. It's a 1-point Connecticut lead. Adrian lobbed it up. Couldn't tell really if it was for Robinson or Edwards, but it's a turnover, the 6th for the Huskies.
Had too many people in the same area.
So if the Beat returns, and Adrian goes out.
See if they move the Beat around. Maybe some ball screen or a quick post after the screen here.
They've been getting these passes where they want them.
Flynn, Ongenato gets stuck in the air and turned it over to Price. And 2 quick turnovers for Syracuse after they've played nearly 15 minutes without one.
He's put a few people hanging in the air at the Beat, hasn't he?
He grew up a soccer player in Tanzania, didn't play basketball till age 16, so he's still a work in progress.
Look at the speed and pull-up.
Wow. Flynn to the wide open Davendorf.
Great offensive set. And it all started with a rebound and a push.
So 19 points in the second half yesterday for Davendorf, followed up by a 10-point first half tonight against the Huskies. A.J. Price has room. And his 3 rattled out. Edwards right there.
Boy, this kid has really played well. Playing a little bigger now with Robinson as a small forward.
Just getting it into the middle. And when you get it into the middle, you kick it out, you're going to get something good. And Syracuse, not a great rebounding team. The offensive rebounds are available.
Davendorf got Price in the air. Flynn pondering his options. Off to Ongenat, who went at the Beat. Jim Boeheim wanted a foul. He won't get it. 2-on-1 break. It's Robinson heading to the rim again. Woo!
He jammed that. It was rolling down his arm. He still got control. Shot blocking. Igniting fast break opportunities. And the ensuing timeout.
Jim Boeheim thought this was a foul. He didn't get the call. And it led to a 2-on-1 break with the acrobatic finish. The action picking up here. 3:26 to go till the half. Connecticut with a 2-point lead over Syracuse. The Huskies ranked number 4 in the country this week. They've been in the top 5 all year long. Devendorf's shot was deflected by Edwards.
A nice response defensively.
Price whipped it to an unsuspecting Edwards. 3-on-3 the other way. Flynn, acrobatic left-handed layup. Down to Thabit.
Boy, just a free throw line jumper.
Pull up, huh?
Take it in there. You're 6 feet tall. You're challenging a 7'3" guy, even though he didn't go for the blocked shot. Flynn changed his shot, worried about it, and wound up missing a bunny where he could have had a short little 10, 12-foot jumper.
And right now, the little offense will be the only 2 guys deep, I think, Austrie and Price.
Price open for 3. 2 Syracuse players there, and Ojanot has the rebound. Flynn trying to speed the beat, could get in the way. And Johnny Flynn will shoot 2 after the media timeout. Foul on Edwards, his second. 2:27 to go in the half. A 2-point lead for Connecticut.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for
Turn the beat around. And we'll look forward to that as always. Race. ACC tournament. Subject of blackouts Friday through Sunday. In some markets, Bill can relate to that. North Carolina, Virginia Tech. The first quarterfinal tomorrow. Florida State, Georgia Tech. The second ball game, Maryland, a huge win. They were down big early, but came back to beat NC State.
Listening to you resuscitates me quickly.
Johnny Flynn made the first free throw. This one would tie it. It's an 8th tie of the game. There have been 7 lead changes. It's been tight throughout. The largest lead for either team. Syracuse up by 5 at 18-13.
Really the only perimeter threat, A.J. Price. Craig Austrie has not shot the ball well at all.
I like that set. And Thabit makes the shot, which makes it look good. But they had a high-low setup, a little bump inside. Great out of the timeout.
4 points for Thabit. 5 rebounds. He had 8 points in the regular season win against Syracuse. 16 rebounds and 7 blocks. Devendorf rebounded by Jeff Adrian.
Why not use the ball screen? Thabit wasn't even out there guarding.
Just stained it. See if they do the same set.
Until they stop.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
A good catch by Austrie on the pass back from Adrian. 12 to shoot for the Huskies. Under a minute and a half to go here in the first half. Austrie, his shooting woes continue. The beat there. Waited patiently and gets the bounce.
Oh boy, he was harassed as well. Great concentration. What a big fella.
But he did a nice job of block. He essentially blocked out as the inside rebounder there. And one of the first times today he's really gotten down in the stance to accomplish something like that.
This is the largest Connecticut lead. 1 minute to go, first half.
And defensively, he bends from the waist, by the way, Jay. Doesn't flex those knees.
I think he can, he just doesn't.
Routen's well done because Robinson was quick to get on him, knowing that Andy is a terrific three-point shooter. And by the way, his dad Leo's upset with both of you.
About the shooting?
Yeah, you said last night Andy's a better shooter than his dad, the former Syracuse star.
I asked you, by the way.
Leo Routens, and Leo said, now that I know Leo's upset, I'm going to disavow any connection to your
The truth hurts, doesn't it?
And by the way, Robinson, talking to Jimmy, that's a tough match for Robinson. Andy's just quick and nice hands here.
That's how competitive. That's how competitive Leo is. He throw his own kid under the bus to be the better shooter.
Yeah.
You have to see how
Doesn't quite rank up there with Roger Clemens throwing his wife under the bus in front of Congress, but it's still pretty bad.
Pretty play. How about that? Price on the money with that delivery.
And the dribble penetration is going to be there. They just have to keep doing it.
Last shot time, dangerous offensive rebounding.
And this would tie it. Paul Harris the miss on Owaku, couldn't get it back up. As usual, when these two longtime rivals get together, an interesting ball game, and Calhoun's Huskies lead at the break. 37-34 is the score. Once again, Reese Davis in the studio. It's the Cisco halftime report. And welcome back to New York City. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods and ESPN's coverage of the 2009 Big East Championship final quarterfinal game of the day. Connecticut with a 3-point lead over Syracuse as the second half is about to begin here at the world's most famous arena. So let's go inside the play. The key tonight for Syracuse, how to attack the beat.
Well, the game plan was to go right at him, to move him around with ball screens, but to go right into his chest and go through him. And that is exactly what Arinze Onuaku did, but he did it so slowly it allowed some weak side shot blockers to come over and block his shot. Rick Jackson got a score. Onuaku on another occasion got deep position and got a score. But other than that, the beat has not fouled, and he has not allowed a lot of easy shots inside. You can see the O's are good, X's are bad. Syracuse only shooting 41% in that first half.
How about 0 blocks and still intimidating?
Yeah, but a lot of changes.
Yeah,
that's exactly
changes
right.
in hurry.
So Syracuse, when they lost to Connecticut in the regular season, scored 49 points for the game and shot 31.7%. So they've improved tonight, and that's good offense as they go inside to Rick Jackson, who has 4 points, and Syracuse is down by 1 in the opening minute of the second half.
Much quicker move by Jackson.
And of course it was on Robinson, though, to be not in the area.
A.J. Price, Kemba Walker found a seam, found the bucket.
Pretty. Kid plays with confidence.
His first bucket, freshman from the Bronx out of Rice High School, where he was an All-American last year, McDonald's All-American. Price ahead of the pack.
Oh, no, why would you foul? However, Adrian set it up with just a paw in there for deflection. Just let him go, but it's all about the defense sets this up, and yeah, little bump at the end there. Maybe got caught under.
Oh, nice job by Adrian Price to shield the ball with his body and pick up that contact and finish the play. That's a veteran guard.
Price with 13 points to lead all scorers. Stanley Robinson had 11 in the first half. The foul on Harris was his second, so it's Syracuse now down by 6, their largest deficit of the night. Flynn fast to the bucket, and he got fouled. Both Stanley Robinson and Jeff Adrian were there, and they're going to give it to Robinson, his second. Here's a look at the first half stats brought to you by Guinness. Connecticut shot over 50% and had the rebounding edge.
That's the one concern they had, Jimmy Boeheim and his guys. You were right about his strength, Sean. You said in the first half, this kid, he'll take on all comers. Jimmy's got a point guard to run the show, let me tell you.
He's built like a running back and really explosive and strong.
Johnny Flynn spent part of the summer in Akron, Ohio at the LeBron James camp. So he really benefited from playing. Why wouldn't you, against guys like LeBron and Chris Paul, who was also there?
Everybody raves about those, Jay. Have you been to any of those? I know you do.
I worked them. I worked actually. Fran Fraschilla and I both worked it. We worked with Johnny Flynn, and he's one great kid. And I think he and Jack McClinton were the 2 best guards there, along with Kalen Lucas from Michigan State.
What did you teach him as a point guard?
Humility.
Gotta feed the post.
Devendorf has it rattle out.
Get it to the big guy.
And a foul on the rebounding action against the Huskies.
Humility.
Well, we would expect nothing less from the two-time Ivy League Player of the Year. And your resume is growing by the moment. Pretty. Devendorf off to Arinze Anawaku.
Keep the big guy moving.
Four unanswered for Syracuse to make it a 2-point lead for Connecticut.
Avery making good decisions.
Robinson a long two. He's struggled from the outside this season. He's 1 out of 16 from three-point range.
Yeah, he's a medium guy at best, I think. Were you eligible the first 2 years? You didn't make all Ivy the first two?
Whoa, that was massive. That. Well, Flynn thought that Anawaku was going to elevate for it, but he wasn't ready to do that. Anawaku's playing on bad knees. Price. Robinson was ready to elevate.
Well, that's just confidence in the cutter and talent by the point guard.
13 for Stanley. His season high is 19 in their win at Marquette. He had 10 rebounds in that game, his best performance of the year. Jackson, last touch by UConn. Jackson thought he was fouled.
Robinson, a guy we know can elevate. He's got that ability. Ooh. How about that? You like my line there, Sonny boy?
I do.
Well, look at this. The beat being lifted sort of set that up. You had to be honest defensively, but Robinson, the elevator man. He's not Rick Cobb, but he finds some floors.
Considering you don't have a computer or email, it's technologically very impressive tonight. You work on the newfangled telescope.
I finally got a circle. Took me 4 days of practice.
Under 17 to go. The winner will play West Virginia in one of the semifinals of this Big East Championship tomorrow night. The Mountaineers beat Pittsburgh earlier this evening.
By the hand, Seth. Tough. You're that big, away from the rim. Jackson.
2 fouls on Rick Jackson. Louisville and Villanova will be in the first semifinal tomorrow night. They had a terrific regular season game in Philadelphia. Louisville hung on for a 1-point win. The beat traveled.
Good call. John's got it. Okay, both guys have been understated, don't you think, on the sidelines?
I thought Jim Calhoun was very understated Saturday as well in that big game at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think so too.
Very rarely demonstrative on the sideline in that game. Flynn.
What's pretty long?
Anawaku, perhaps conscious of the beat coming over. Short-armed it up there, missed it, and then committed a foul.
A really good pass by Johnny Flynn, but you're right, Sean. There's no question that Thabit's presence caused that miss.
I mean, you got to think, you know, we talked about you playing with Sampson and others.
Sampson an Ivy Leaguer too.
You know, he couldn't have made all Ivy, but you got it in the back of your head when you're shooting the ball, I would think, right?
You got it in the front of your head. You also had the ball imprint on the front of your head.
Whoa. Flynn flattened by Price.
He almost got the spin dribble, though. He's pretty good. Nice defensive stand.
And that's a problem now for Connecticut. 3 fouls on Price. They really cannot afford to play long stretches without him.
It's Thabit just really allowing himself to get pushed off 2 hands in the back, and not a whole lot when you're guarding somebody that fast in transition and trying to stop the ball. He's going to get into your body. That's a difficult thing to do, to stop a guy full speed.
Step back.
Routen's missed it. Robinson pulled down the rebound. Out of bounds to Syracuse. Reese, thank you. Here at Madison Square Garden, Jim Boeheim and the Syracuse Orange trailing by 4. Under 16 minutes to go. You're familiar with Connecticut in this championship. 12th meeting And Syracuse has won 4 of the last 5. They played in 3 of the last 4 years here in the Big East Championship. Andy Routen's 3 popped out.
The Beat's not even within 5 feet of the screener.
And they're not really using the screen. They're trying to force them away from it. But doesn't it seem like Connecticut's up by more than 4?
No, because it's 44-40.
But if you didn't look at the scoreboard, you'd feel, based upon the play, that they're up by more than 4.
I would agree with that, yes.
In trouble right here. That's such a great look by Robinson. He steps again.
Yep. And Robinson's had a terrific game. It would really help their cause in the NCAA tournament if he can continue to play like this to Coach Calhoun.
The great intimidator was influenced.
15 minutes to go. Let's check in with Alan Hopkins.
Thanks, Sean. Well, Stanley Robinson, they nickname him Sticks. He's got unbelievable ups, but this year he went through a little personal adversity, took a leave of absence from the team, and he didn't just go home and sulk. He went and worked at a steel mill in the UConn area, and he really did a good job of rehabbing his personality. According to the UConn staff, came back a completely different person and player, and I think UConn is better for it, gentlemen.
Certainly they are tonight. It's UConn on the break. Walker had it slapped away. Good hands by Johnny Flynn. Syracuse 4-on-2 the other way. No one wants to go at the beat. And finally Onawaku did. Jim Calhoun wanted a traveling call, and instead it's going to be a foul on Hashim Thabit. His first. Connecticut fouls less often than any team in the country. Only 12 fouls per game. The average for Connecticut as a team this year.
Those pictures tell you the influence of the beat. You're right. I mean, nobody wanted to go up. Why not? The sacrificial lamb, the last guy to go to the rim.
Onawaku, one of the worst free throw shooters in the country. Tossed up a rock on the first one. He's 29.6%.
And Sean, the big thing is you got to be ready. Both teams knowing he's ineffective, and a nice slap back here by Syracuse. They're used to it.
Roughton had it slip out of his hand as he went to make a move.
Also have to be ready because you get your nose broken.
Austin nearly walked through it inside to Thabit. Rebound, Roughton's in among the tall trees.
He's got so much better rebounding, playing small.
Really become a complete player. Flynn. Now Boeheim is the one who wants the foul call, and he doesn't get it, and Thabit lost it and then knocked down Roughton. The game has gotten ugly offensively, stuck on 44-40 for quite a while now.
Well, you don't get many fast breaks, but how about this particular play once again, the ability of the big guy to influence things, but when you get numbers, you got to take advantage. Will they kick out?
When you try to avoid the block shot, and Johnny Flynn put the ball in his left hand and tried to avoid it, you're just giving more space for Thabit to block the shot.
Connecticut defending very well. Neither team has scored a point in more than 4 minutes. Ongenot tied up by Edwards. Huskies ball.
Well, the defense on the perimeter has been very good.
Connecticut's lost to Syracuse in the Big East tournament 3 of the last 4 years. The last win for the Huskies over Syracuse was in 2003.
So right now this lineup, the small lineup, could favor the Cuse at the other end because of matchup problems. Having their problems with that high ball screen, getting very little out of it, moving Thabit around. There you go. Medium range jumper. Stick to that, kid.
15 for Stanley. And a carry was the call. This match is the largest lead for Connecticut. Let's see who's been heating up. Brought to you by DiGiorno. I'm guessing it's Stanley Robinson. It is.
Heating up but not quite on fire.
We don't want to burn the pizza. 12:59 to go. 6-point game. Back to the Garden right after this. Welcome back to the 30th Big East Championship for the 27th year in a row. Played inside Madison Square Garden, where Connecticut has its largest lead of the night, 6 points with 13 minutes to go, thanks in large part to Stanley Robinson.
Well, Stanley Robinson is a big-time athlete, and he has been very active. When he first got back this season, he deferred a little bit, deferred to his teammates, but he's really starting to step on some toes, and he's been stepping on some Syracuse toes in this ballgame. 15 points.
Live body, live legs. And again, just rounding into more of an offensive threat.
And even without him at his best this season, Connecticut won 15 games in Big East, playing 15-3. It's their 6th league season of 15 wins or more. No other team has won 15 games in a Big East season more than once, and Connecticut's done it 6 times.
Unbelievable job. Look at Connecticut. Tim Calhoun just a legend.
Held ball, Syracuse ball. Syracuse has 2 field goals here in the second half and 6 turnovers since the break.
An old pal of mine there, George Blaney, coached at Holy Cross, I think for what, 26 years, if I'm not mistaken. Great talent, played with the Knicks here at one time. So well respected, highly regarded.
And a great feel and understanding of the game.
And kids.
Out of bounds.
The ball was out of bounds on the pass.
It was kicked.
Oh, okay.
One thing that I think UConn has to do is do a better job of feeding the post. They've got such good big guys. I think they can get the ball inside more often and more effectively if they did a better job of feeding the post.
Ooh, high dribble.
Just a high dribble. That was the gesture by John Cal. And finally, Syracuse has a bucket. 10 points for Flynn.
I think they've got to do some things with bumps on the box. They're not getting much on the high ball screen. Do things around the rim that will not have to be the factor there.
Syracuse went 6 minutes, 10 seconds between points. Routens the steal off to Flynn. Bounced to the bucket and missed it. Onjanot off to Jackson. And it is pinned by Thabit, who now holds the ball. And the officials in quickly. Doesn't look like tempers are going to flare.
I love the hustle by Thabit, though. He sprinted to get involved. The big fella, looming large. And if they're going to do anything this year, Sean, he's got to be a monster factor. Take him down in a big town.
Boston College, if it stays that way.
And Price, a factor now. I know he's got some foul situation. They really get out on him.
Adrian powering into the bucket and fouled by Rick Jackson.
That was
his third.
That was a good post feed.
Well, you know, with your guy like Price, you've got the ample opportunity because they guard him so far out. It was a great entry.
Works on his pass, hit it right in the chest with it. When you're passing into the post, you not only want to throw it to the post guy, but you want to pass away from the defense.
Among those in the crowd here tonight, Jerry McNamara and his wife Katie. Jerry, of course, the MVP in 2006 when Syracuse became the first to win 4 in 4 days, including an upset of #1 Connecticut. And Jerry McNamara had the late game heroics against Cincinnati and UConn.
You two have a similarity. He walks into a room and gets a standing O at Syracuse. You walk out, you get one.
Lievendorf, he really did a good job there of attacking Thabit.
He did.
He's a tough kid, no question about it. Just, you know, in fairness to him, he has played under control in terms of temperament as well.
Walker shut off by Lievendorf. Austrie can't get it, but it's Robinson again.
He brought Adrian with him. Yo, Adrian.
Two Huskies behind the play. Fortunately for them, Thabit's there to stop Onjanot. He did foul Kristoff.
He liked that. He's got a little smile. Jay, check this out with Adrian now. He thinks he's getting pushed by a Syracuse player. He starts begging for a call here.
This is where you say on the scouting report, guys, you got to block him out.
Adrian thought he got a bad whistle or no whistle.
Onjanot has one playing off. There's another of the Syracuse free throw shooters who is below average at 59%.
One of only a half dozen Belgians playing college basketball.
Anjanat, and we found out from.
Do your own homework from now on, Jay, will you?
I was working today trying to come up with some.
Did you find
I made some phone calls, but I didn't get a call back.
You got a couple of fins.
Give him a fin. Here's A.J. Price with Austrie, Thabit, Robinson, and Gavin Edwards now for Coach Jim Calhoun.
Robinson screen and slide.
Austrie's going to keep trying. Not a confident looking release right now from Austrie, mired in a bad shooting slump. Flynn to the bucket. He was fouled on the way.
Well, you gotta love his attitude though. Thabit never got down. He knew he could take advantage. Something this guy enjoys seeing. Anytime you don't have the big fella in there, he can do some damage.
Yeah, this game is still right there for the taking for Syracuse. Knocked a couple shots down.
Devendorf, he thought he had hit on the arm by Price. Price stripped side of the lane, and he was the last to touch it.
He got his foot on the come down. You don't have to settle though, Jay. You know, Devendorf's jumper, I think they can get some good looks. Better ones for him where he can step into it without that challenge. Now here's the rubs. I think they're more effective with Thabit. A late ball screen. Now he's not even involved in this.
Devendorf swatted by Thabit.
He is now.
4 blocks for Thabit. 3 of them here in the second half.
Well, you can bring it all. You might as well bring the lunch pail too.
And Jackson just bumped Thabit out of the way. And Jay, you've been saying it's right. It feels like Syracuse should be behind by a greater margin than they are. And a foul in the middle of the lane. Jackson got called for bumping up against Thabit.
Here's Jackson going right into the chest of Thabit to cut down the space that a shot blocker needs. Got him right underneath the basket and essentially went right through his chin. Got him off his feet. Easy basket.
And it's seldom he leaves his feet.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He usually waits for the shooter to go up before he leaves the floor. And that's what the great shot blockers do.
4 fouls on Jackson now, so he's on the bench. It's the 15th foul against Syracuse. Connecticut's been called for 6.
Turn and look.
Stanley Robinson, it is his night.
And within the framework of his ability too. You know, not the deep thrust, the 1 for 16.
They have to have contributions from Robinson, maybe not to this level every night, obviously, but they've got to get Austrie going.
They just can't keep up with that kid as Thabit. Tardy.
Flynn went right at Thabit and scored. It's a 2-point game. Connecticut's defended beautifully here in the second half. They led by 3 at the break. UConn 23-0 this year when leading at the half. Thabit, a good catch. And I believe he was shoved on the catch by Onjanat.
A smart play, too. He was in a disarming position. But look at this now. I can't believe how quick this kid is. And you talk about big guys searching the body. He went right for the numbers of 34.
Well, Thabit's got to get up there and help out a little better on that ball screen.
Robinson. Nice defense.
Great effort by Walker. Devendorf ran it down. 2 to tie and 3 for the lead for Syracuse now with under 9 minutes to go. Nice. Let Walker fly by. Missed it to the right. Onjanat took it away from Price.
That's what he contributes. A lot of little things. Effort, sticking to it.
Here comes the ball screen again.
Devendorf handed it off. And then Onjanat gave it to Routens. Onjanat to the bucket! And it fell off as he was bidding to tie it, perhaps get a free throw that would have put Syracuse ahead.
And Thabit stretching those legs.
How about this catch right off his shin? He's still able to pick it up. That was impressive by Onjanat.
And undeterred, too, getting to the rim. And just a great defensive play at the beginning of that little sequence.
2 shots for Onjanat. Syracuse now 8 out of 13 from the line. You know you were bad last night when 8 out of 13 is a major improvement. 6 for 20 against Seton Hall last night.
Well, he looks like better than a 60% shooter, doesn't he? With those two, anyhow.
Tie game, 51 apiece, 8:20 to go, and many of the people in the Garden on their feet.
Syracuse already has more points than the last time these two teams played.
Orange and on almost had a steal. The Orange had 49 points in the regular season game. Held ball, Syracuse ball.
Pretty good defensive position. You get there and you stick the hands in. How about this house, Sean? I didn't realize how many Syracuse followers in the building.
They have a big group here. They have so many alums in this area. Syracuse, a private university, about 12,000 students in central New York.
Affectionately referred to as what?
The Harvard of Central New York.
What I thought you said.
Rautins used the screen. Rautins gives them the lead. Their first lead of the second half. Timeout, and they may check the monitor to make sure that was a three. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, Alan Hopkins on the sidelines. Delighted to have you with us. This one is starting to develop into a typical Syracuse, Connecticut classic. The officials are reviewing the last bucket by Rautins to make sure it was a three, and it appears that it was.
The slapback gets it set. Hey, Jay, I'm so impressed how he controlled his body weight to not go sideways, which would throw the shot off.
Well, great shooters know how to set their feet, but I was impressed with the initial ball screen, then the throwback off the penetration. Anawaku setting another screen for Rautins, and Thabit was nowhere to be found. I mean, he was playing essentially a pick and roll. There was no roll, essentially a rescreen, and that's what got Rautins open. I think Thabit's got to stay up there and give more help, even though it takes him away from the basket.
The officials are still looking at the monitor. Isn't this, to you, pretty clearly a three?
I think they're finally conceding, yep. You know what I think they may be doing? Getting more looks, Sean? You know what I mean? Just to be...
And now they have officially deemed it a three-point goal for Rautins. And the crowd is getting engaged in the proceedings now. Price to Robinson with Austrie. Thabit and Adrian for Connecticut. Here's Austrie. What a time to get out of a slump.
Tell you what, that kid over his career has stepped up terrific. I know he's struggling tonight, but the confidence to take it, always ready.
And getting the ball to the middle and then kicking it out. That freezes or collapses that zone.
They've been able to get into cracks with the ball and find people.
Devendorf, he answers with a three. Responding to the first basket of the night for Austrie. Devendorf has 15 points. The Cuse by 3, nearing 7 minutes to go.
Adrian flash, look low.
Adrian from the elbow, and the offenses are heating up. Syracuse looked like they wanted the quick counter. Now Devendorf will wait for Flynn.
Both teams passing the ball. They're giving the defense a chance to make a mistake. You get the ball into the middle of that zone, there's nothing but good things available.
Teams look to be catching their breath for a moment. Everybody was standing still. And Flynn got them in motion, fouled, and a chance for three.
What a job freezing the defense with the pull-up. The body control, the strength, the ability to have that little soft, deft touch in the lane.
Foul on Austrie, his second, the team's 8th.
How about this, Jay, huh? Take it on the big guy. And how about this? Just a little pump to bite. Nyland.
And here in New York, both teams are heating up. Syracuse has made 5 of its last 6 shots from the floor. Connecticut's made 3 straight. 59-56 Orange with Johnny Flynn running the show.
Well, Johnny Flynn has been terrific off the bounce, using ball screens, under control, change of pace, change of direction, and that wasn't a carry.
High elevation. He's been tough. But you know what's interesting? In the old guard, I hate to tell you what year, we happened to play there. This is 1966, I believe, this one. They had cracks in the floor, and you had to go out and you dribbled the ball as guards to find out the dead. The old Boston Garden had the same thing. Now it's high tech, everything's smooth and even.
Did the laces on the ball ever get caught in those cracks?
The center jumps every time he scored. It's terrible.
4-point lead for Syracuse. Under 6.5 minutes to go. For a while, Connecticut dominated this event, but they've lost their last 3 games of the Big East tournament, trying to avoid a 4-game Big East championship losing streak. Austri shut off by Ongenat, down to 10 seconds to shoot for UConn. Austri got stuck in the air, almost turned it over. He did turn it over, as apparently Adrian was the last to touch it.
Ongenat worked that. You mentioned taking the baseline. He's the guy that slid in front to get this pass. I mean, this is just terrific hustle, understanding, and being in position.
But a bad play by Austri to dribble into that zone and leave his feet. I mean, the dribble penetration was good. You want to dribble into the gaps of that zone, but you can't leave the floor to pass.
Oh, the beat said no more of that, Johnny Flynn. Back come the Huskies. Robinson fouled by Ongenat.
Once again, a hustle play by Ongenat, but you're right, Sean, at the other end. The beat having no more of the point guard dominated him. Starts a fast break, keeps it in play.
Well, he went up to help on that ball screen and recovered nicely. Moved his feet, still able to make a play. I still think he needs to keep up there on that ball screen and defend.
Robinson matched the 19 he had at Marquette with 19 tonight. That one spins off. He's 58% from the line. It's the 7th team foul against Syracuse. Both teams are in the bonus. Ongenat's been called for 3 fouls now. Ongenat hits the deck. Adrian knocked him down. That'll make it a 1-and-1 at the other end.
Well, Adrian, a physical kind of a player. Probably just had enough. Did you ever have that happen to you where you just had enough? Sometimes guys banging you around.
Yeah, about 5 minutes ago.
I mean, on the floor.
You know, playing against this zone for a big guy can get frustrating. You don't get the ball when you're used to getting it, always in a crowd. You have to show a lot of patience against his own defense and really move the ball and attack.
1-and-1 for Ongenat. Syracuse didn't have anybody in the lane there.
And a 60% free throw shooter, too.
That's interesting.
Maybe they were afraid.
In some cases, they don't want to hurt their fingers.
That's what I'm saying.
We won't name names, right?
Robinson has looked tentative a lot of the year. He's been so confident tonight. The beat wound up with the deflected shot. And he agonized over the fact that it didn't drop, but he'll go to the line for 2.
Smart play there by Routens, too. He said, give it to him.
3 fouls on Routens. 8th team foul, so here's the beat at the line. 0 for 1 tonight, now 0 for 2. He has 5 block shots. Had 7 the last time they played in the regular season. Had 7 against Syracuse in the regular season game last year. The margin 3. Syracuse the lead and the ball. 5:20 to go here at Madison Square Garden.
Johnny Flynn, great speed with the ball. Kemba Walker, great speed guarding it.
Almost one there, Sean.
Devendorf nearly traveled. He has it back from Onowaku. Tough shot, and he made it with Price right up on him.
Well, Thabit gave ground and gave him that cushion.
Walker driving on Flynn, stripped by Flynn. Ongenat to Devendorf.
Don't need it, don't need it.
It's 1-on-3. Devendorf powers to the bucket and missed the layup.
Got to use your head.
Price pulled up at the NBA line, off balance 3. Edwards the rebound. Edwards called for the foul as he went swinging around and knocked down a couple orange.
What a shame, because he made some rebounding effort.
3 fouls on Gavin Edwards. That's the 10th Connecticut foul. They have a double bonus the rest of the way when it's not offensive.
What a big time snatch. You can see that loose arm just to extricate himself.
Ooh.
And Leo never took a shot like that because he wasn't under the glass that often. But Andy showing some toughness.
Well, some great boxing matches in this building throughout the history. Down goes Routens, but he's up off the canvas and ready to go.
Syracuse zone in this ball game has really led to a lot of UConn turnovers. That's really been the difference in the game, is turnovers.
Yep, you're right.
Jim Boeheim's teams won 5 in a row. He said the question is, can we beat the really good teams? They have a chance to do that tonight. Leading by 5. They have the ball. 4.5 to go. Devendorf trying along the baseline. Turn it over.
That's 2. He's got to use his head under control. He can be solid and then occasionally a little reckless.
Onawaku just threw Thabit to the ground.
He turned the beat around.
Like you mentioned earlier, some banging that goes on in this building. Sometimes not in the boxing ring either.
The 9th team foul, so it'll be a 1-and-1 opportunity. He missed the front end of the last 1-and-1. The foul was on Onawaku, his 3rd. Still a 5-point lead. We're coming down to 4 minutes left.
Syracuse is smart and used a little bit of clock and still looks to attack.
Well, they toy with that big guy up there.
Flynn, he thought he was hit by Austria. The save, but it came back to Flynn. Off for Onawaku. Foul, counter.
Sean, Anjanat is a nudge out there. He's the guy that kept that alive to start that sequence. It won't show in the box score, but what an impact.
Well, the number 2 team in the nation has already lost here tonight, Pittsburgh, and number 4 is in big trouble. Syracuse has its largest lead with 3:56 to go. Welcome back to the Big East Championship, a part of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Final quarterfinal of the day here at the Garden, and it's Syracuse with its largest lead of the night, 7 points. And Jim Boeheim's team with a chance to make it 8 with Onawaku at the line. He missed, and the rebound to Thabit. To Price with Walker, Robinson, and Adrian for Coach Jim Calhoun.
Have to know where Price is all the time.
And Adrian's been a decision maker right here. Good screen.
Walker, a little hesitation move. And it's tipped back up and in by Thabit. 9 for the big man.
Walker got pretty deep. Very fortunate that the big guy.
And that high ball screen again.
And they like to run clock late. That team's done this for years. They shorten this game and come late with what you suggested, Jay.
And the 3 good ball handlers and free throw shooters on the court with Flynn, Routens, and Devendorf. Flynn didn't know that Walker was behind him, and the rookie knocked it away. 3 minutes to go. Price swatted by Onjana, but it wound up with Robinson. He got his own rebound and was fouled.
Boy, pretty good effort with the push of the basketball. And Robinson once again provide the lift for this team. He's been terrific.
4 fouls for Onawaku.
Robinson not a great free throw shooter. For a team that has been struggling badly from the free throw line in this game.
Well, they've been worse than Syracuse tonight from the line.
He's at 57.
And 2 shots were wrestled away for both sides, both teams in the double bonus. Do you like the strategy of taking the air out of the ball a little bit with more than 3 minutes to go?
Not yet. To me, it's very touchy.
You have momentum, it seemed.
You're playing well. Because you got it in the right guy's hands, Flynn, and they did run the ball screen.
Great rebound.
I can see using some clock.
Thabit went over Onjanat without fouling, and then Onjanat fouled Thabit. And that's 4 on Christoph.
Thabit came from the other side of the lane, and Adrian they just X'd.
Yeah, nice little play. Good call, Jay.
Adrian just basically cleared the space for him.
And you know, the interesting thing, being ready, knowing your guy can't make free throws. Or he's not good at making it.
Thabit made the first, 63% for the year. 2 out of 5 tonight. 3 out of 6 tonight. Connecticut from 7 down to within 2 as they've scored 5 in a row, and a long way to go at the Garden. 2:50 remaining. And no holding on to the ball now. They're running a set. Routens with the taller Robinson on.
Very active, Andy.
Routens the miss, the beat, the rebound. 2 to tie, 3 for a Connecticut lead. Price splits the defense. Underneath for Adrian. He lost the handle. It'll stay with the Huskies.
Well, Price is confident in traffic, isn't he? A little squeeze of that, it would have been a deuce.
Andy Routens goes out, and Paul Harris has spent a lot of time on the bench. He is back in.
Got to watch the backside of this here. Good job by Anna Walker.
Price might have been tipped. Robinson there again. The game tied for the 11th time tonight.
The advantage on the miss. Timeout for Coach Boeheim, but the advantage on the miss up the rim is the offensive team, and Robinson as alert as any Husky during the course of this game.
7-0 run for Connecticut.
Anytime there's an air ball, it's the offense that always seems to get it, but Stanley Robinson has really had the game of his season. Played extremely well in transition, incredibly athletic. Nobody blocks him out. He makes them pay. And with the air ball, the offense has the luxury of watching the flight of the ball.
Pretty good one against these two guys that have banged heads for years. And right now, the Flame
finally on fire.
Bursting forth.
He was heating up before. Now he's on fire.
And Connecticut very well win this game. 4-2 since Dyson was hurt. There are many times tonight I find myself watching this game thinking, boy, they really miss Jerome Dyson and the many things he brings to them.
Jay mentioned the fire and the toughness, the assertiveness, and plus Walker being a little inexperienced, we give him time to massage his way back into the lineup. Now starting as he did tonight.
Syracuse had a 7-point lead, was shooting a free throw to make it 8. 7 straight points for UConn. Devendorf, his pass deflected. Wow. Devendorf is one of those guys who keeps both teams in the game.
Well, but that you got to give a ton of credit to Kemba Walker there. He and Price would not allow the ball to go to Johnny Flynn. And Walker was face guarding, and that's what led to that near turnover. They made Devendorf handle the ball.
Now they got the foul here on Walker trying to, wow.
He was Walker on a Walker Ranger there as he wrestled on a Walker to the ground for a second foul.
Well, the sad part for Syracuse is who's going to the free throw line, you know?
Yeah. Arinze on a Walker.
Children at home, cover your eyes.
0 for 3 from the line tonight. This is a 2-shot opportunity. What a time to make the first one.
Good for him.
No matter what religion, I would use all the signs on the free throw line if I struggled like that.
He was 1 for his last 19 from the line before that make, and then he made 2 in a row when they needed it most.
Great for that kid and his psyche.
How about that?
He just needs more pressure. I guess that's what he is. Wants it to be excruciating pressure, and then he bears down. Under 2 minutes to go. Price with Devendorf defending. Never got to the rim. Ongenot has it. Looking for help. Finds it from Harris.
What a tough shot under duress.
Now, if you're Syracuse, would you even pass the ball to Walker?
Jay mentioned this. I think Walker, if he gives it up, don't let him get it back.
Flynn all the way to the bucket. Fouled by Thabit.
Well, that kid just goes at you. Attack, attack. Not afraid, unabashed around a big fella. Carte blanche getting in the lane, though, Jay.
So he gets an angle and went right to the rim and right into Thabit.
He goes right at number 3-4. The numbers on the jersey.
4th foul on Thabit. Flynn, 76% for the season and 6 for 6 tonight. 3-point game, 1:23 to go in regulation. Four-point game.
You know who they like on the free throw line? The perimeter guys.
Sports Center to follow, but first, another exhilarating finish between Syracuse and Connecticut at the Garden.
Gotta find A.J. Price.
And nobody flashing up the foul line. There he goes.
Adrian passed it off. Austri for three! The slumping Austri with another big three-ball for Connecticut.
Well, you're always looking for somebody to step up. Some early onions by Austri. You noted he struggled, but the look opposite by the playmaker, the point forward, Adrian, sets it up.
UConn has gotten some really good things when they've gotten the ball into the free throw line area, and that was a difficult shot. Paul Harris was right there with an outstretched arm, and the young man, Craig Austri, the senior that's been struggling, knocks down another one.
We've shot 27% in the 6 games without Dyson. We've already had one buzzer beater today. Villanova was down by 1. They had blown a 17-point lead, and Dwayne Anderson at the buzzer, set up by Reggie Redding, who made a terrific play. Villanova didn't have any timeouts when they got the ball back with about 13 seconds to go. We asked Jay right before the game tonight if you had a timeout, would you have used it? He said, of course I would. I'm a control freak. But unfortunately, the team played on and played very well without the benefit of the timeout, and they'll earn the match with Louisville at 7 o'clock tomorrow night here on ESPN in West Virginia. We'll get the winner of this game.
How about this one now? Would you hack a Shack?
Down one?
Yeah,
no.
Just, I mean, the thought occurs. I'm just thinking as we approach the end of this game, that's a consideration.
Yeah, but not down. For me, not down one.
Right.
I would think Syracuse would try to go offense-defense with Anna Walker and not have him on the floor.
Well, let's see.
When they
You're
go
right.
to the offensive end.
And you're right. That's why you were magna cum laude, or some form of that.
He's just lauding.
Harris to throw it in with Flynn, Devendorf, Routens, and Onjanot. Walker and Price to pick up on the backcourt for UConn with Robinson, Adrian, and Thabit.
Well, he's got an outlet because Thabit's not going to play it.
Interesting, we have Harris handling the ball with 3 guards on the floor. Now the handoff to Devendorf.
Flynn's got to get active to get free. Walker doing a good job of the trip.
And why wouldn't you have Flynn handling the ball?
Well, Walker made him go to the baseline, just like Jay said before. He face guarded him. I think they were going to try and get him on a down screen to come back out.
Price with his 4th foul.
Calhoun really trying to control himself on the sideline there.
Even if Devendorf is their best free throw shooter, 80.2%, hasn't been to the line tonight.
Even if he makes them both, still a lot of time left in this game. UConn would not need a 3.
Here comes Onawaku in for defense. Calhoun didn't like that call on Price. Syracuse has made 5 free throws, now 6 in a row. The lead 3, 49 seconds to go.
Well, the 2 biggest ones are by Onawaku.
They just go to the rim. And they'll get something attacking, and sometimes they'll get a kick out 3.
Get it into the middle.
They're looking for Austri. They pop out to the corner. And that's the key right there. This guy with the decision. Pretty good catch.
And Thabit spun to the bucket and laid it in with Onjanot on the ground, and Jim Calhoun calls a timeout.
I know Arinze Onawaku will go out. I think I saw Leo Routens get up, but this is a great choice, I think, that Jim Calhoun found. Getting Adrian involved in the mix, and pretty good catch by the big guy.
Very good catch. A difficult pass to catch, and made the finish, but Syracuse did a pretty good job of pressing up on the 3-point shooters and not collapsing so that Adrian could find Austri or Price for a step-in 3.
Are you surprised that the night he's had, Stanley Robinson wasn't on the floor?
Well, to match up maybe with the small guys, that's a consideration.
I'd rather have the extra guard.
Thabit now 13 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 block shots. These 2 Hall of Fame coaches matching wits yet again. Both teams in the double bonus. Connecticut 1 timeout. Syracuse has 2. The ball in a 1-point lead for the Orange with 28.5 to go. They'll have Harris throw it in again with Flynn, Devendorf, Ongenot, and Roughton.
Ongenot can get free. He's got the beat, and they got Big Edwards on the ball, taking away vision, face guarding by the foul line.
Picking up man-to-man all over the court. Edwards on the ball. Ongenot wouldn't be a bad guy to foul at under 60, and Edwards did foul him.
You know, interesting. Good coaching on both parts. Ongenot's going to get free because the beat's covering him. And then Calhoun counters that one. Look, let him get it. Let's go nick him.
Connecticut foul is on Gavin Edwards, his 4th.
Ongenot's 3 out of 5 from the free throw line tonight. And 59.2 for the year entering this game. And Syracuse has made its last 6. That one rimmed out.
Wouldn't you put somebody on the line?
Yes.
You know, knowing
now Harris is going to move in.
Just one. I put 2. Of course, some coaches are afraid of going over the top. That's another consideration.
Ongenot 1 out of 2. The lead is 2. 27.3 to go. Walker will bring it up with Price, Adrian, Thabit, and Austri.
All been going through Adrian at the foul line.
1 timeout for the Huskies if they need it. 2 to tie, 3 for the lead. Got to move. 15 seconds to go. Walker into the lane. Back out for Austri. Under 10 to go. Austri dribbling. Austri heaves one up. The beat snatches and lost it. Walker all alone to lay it in. 1.1 to go. Timeout Syracuse.
Oh, does it get any better?
The beat kept it alive, and Walker snuck in to finish it.
All because of dribbling and attracting attention.
Boy, they waited a long time.
They were really dead in the water, weren't they?
Waited a long time, and
that starts it right there.
What a terrific rebound and the strength, and Kemba Walker just sneaks right in there and has the presence not only to grab the ball, but to go up with it quickly to finish that play.
How about this reaction? Now you probably got a chance now with something long. Well, you could catch it at half court.
But you put the beat on the ball here to use that 7-3 frame to try to deflect that pass or at least make it to where they got to angle it.
Now is Grant Hill available?
Bob Donato, veteran official, letting Thabit know what he's allowed to do in this situation.
Watch Flynn setting the screen on him.
Whoa. Thabit did make contact with Flynn. It's an errant pass. Devendorf at the buzzer. Oh! Good! Good! They will check it, but if it stands, it's another Syracuse buzzer beater to beat Connecticut. Woo! Onions!
How about this, guys? Look at the deflection right to him. I think it's good. Ooh.
Well, there's separation there, but it's also on all zeros.
Wow. How much closer can you get?
Let's look up here.
Boy, I don't know.
I don't know.
It is simultaneous.
It
seems.
Now, if they cannot ascertain, they have to have signaled whether.
It's hard to. Ooh. Looks like it's still on his fingertips there.
Yeah.
With the clock at all zeros.
I don't think he got it off.
I don't think so either. Look at that.
It's still in his hands at 0-0.
Yep.
Wow. What an amazing
that's
finish.
On his fingertips.
Oh, my goodness. How about that?
Boy, and would you have bet live it was just barely good?
Yep, I would agree, Sean.
You wonder if the horn wasn't quite in sync with the clock going to 0 because it sounded like the buzzer came after the release.
It goes clock, light, horn.
Right, I know that, but I'm saying.
But I was just saying.
We were judging by the horn live because that's what we heard.
But just on the replay, it goes clock, light, horn, and clearly the clock is at 0:00 and it's still touching his fingertips.
And Sean, it's very important. The referee did signal 3. Remember our Texas game at Providence? That became the rule. You must make a signal in case you cannot determine by viewing the monitor whether it's good or not. And they did have the arms up in one of our shots.
If it was a 3 or a 2, it was still going to be a win if it counted for Syracuse, but
I just don't see how this could be any good.
It's at .1 now, still in his hand. And let's congratulate our terrific crew, which has done great work all week. But Bo Garrett and Chip Dean, our producer and director, have done a terrific job showing you a number of looks that have the ball and the clock in the picture. And the officials want to make sure the clock started appropriately.
Late. Looked like it started a little bit late, did it?
A little lag of a tenth, maybe, Jay. But this is the key. Boy, what a tough situation. Oh, what a monster decision.
Boy, when that ball is in the air, in the 92 Duke-Kentucky game, taught you when that ball is in the air, it's a loose ball. You got to go up and catch that thing.
I do think it was in his fingertips, too.
John Cal, Bob Donato, and James Breeding are the officials.
Great framework. I mean, I think it's...
They're about to make a decision. Yeah. And I think they're going to wave it off. They did.
And the right call.
You have to prepare yourself now for overtime.
And mentally is what you're talking about.
It's going to be a tough one for Devendorf and for Syracuse, but they've got to move on next play right now.
And, you know, the officials handled it beautifully. The signal was there. We saw that just in case they could not have a conclusive decision.
And I'll tell you what, our crew handled it spectacularly to get those pictures. Amazing job.
So we head to overtime. The final verdict rendered by John Cal. And it looked like they got it right. Well, the action pulsating at the end of regulation. The Garden still abuzz with the developments. The three-pointer that would have won it for Eric Devendorf at the buzzer waved off. The officials come over and told us that they did deem, and it seemed to be the case, the ball was just on his fingertips as the clock hit all zeros. So we head to overtime. And Thabit controls the tip. Both teams undefeated in overtime this year. Syracuse 3-0. And Connecticut's 1-0. They had that memorable overtime victory against Gonzaga.
The middle of that zone has been very good for UConn. They have to keep attacking it.
And here's your guy Robinson, too, on that offensive rebounding ability. And middle game.
Not enough dribble penetration into the gaps of the zone. They're just throwing it around on the perimeter.
There it is.
Price, tough shot with Devendorf reaching in, and a foul.
That's who? Robinson.
And Robinson, who wasn't in at the end of regulation, is fouled by Ongenaut, and he has fouled out. And that is a big story as we enter overtime because there is foul difficulty aplenty on both sides. Ongenaut gone. Anawaku has 4 fouls. Jackson with 4 for Syracuse. Price and Thabit 4 apiece for Connecticut.
Ongenaut, the meat and potato guys. Not big numbers, but solid contributions.
Gavin Edwards also has 4 for Connecticut. So here's Robinson. And the first points of overtime for Calhoun's Huskies. Season high 23 for Robinson. His career best is 32.
But this is the best I think I've ever seen him play in a big-time game.
I would agree.
And the night toward the NCAA tournament, that has to brighten the spirits of Husky Nation. Jim Kellen's been saying it all year. We need Robinson at his best.
What a gut check right now for Syracuse. Get punched in the stomach with that shot not counting and having to come out for overtime. Big possession.
They're going right at the big guy. He's got to control it. Nice help.
Anawaku lost it. The beat! Stretching out the 7'3" frame. It hit the floor. Got the ball and the timeout.
What a play by Hasheem Thabit. Now that's toughness. The ball's on the floor. 7'3" is on the floor. Lay it out for it.
Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, and Alan Hopkins. Madison Square Garden rocking the 4th and final quarterfinal of this day. And it's Connecticut leading in Thabit with all-out hustle.
Johnny Flynn bending over at the waist for the ball, and the 7-3 Hasheem Thabit laying out for it, getting on the floor. I mean, that's big-time hustle and toughness by Hasheem Thabit.
And not walking, taking advantage, not getting up. Key.
And those are winning plays, and the game plan for Syracuse was to go right at him. And he has responded with a double-double and 5 blocks, a lot more shot changes. A pretty darn good performance by Hasheem Thabit.
Connecticut's 22-2 all-time when he has a double-double, so that's a good omen for the Huskies. Thabit, back-to-back Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and 6 times in the last 7 years it's been a Connecticut player, the Big East Defensive Player of the Year.
They've been running some good stuff, and Robinson very good on the glass at the end. Of nice pass by Price, penetrating.
Beautiful by Price off to Thabit. And Syracuse looking for its first points of overtime, trying to rally back after that major deflation when the would-be game-winning goal was wiped off. Flynn, tough shot, way off. Harris in the right place. Harris is bumped, and it counts.
He attacked the right guy. to be not in the area. Oh boy, they needed that one badly, you know. The emotional end of that game, very tough on them, but again, almost like a complete miss, and to be on the high side, able to use that power of Harris. Pretty.
Terrific screen by Jeff Adrian, and great penetration by A.J. Price.
And Robinson has 4 fouls now, so a lot of the combatants in the game run away from extinction. Harris makes the free throw. Syracuse now 18 out of 26 from the line tonight. A good night from the line for the Orange, nearly 70%. Price finds the seam again. Has it back from Walker with 15 to shoot. Adrian left alone from 18.
Boy, that kid has just stepped up over his years. He didn't have that when he came in. Now he strokes it confidently.
A much better attack of the zone defense in the last 5 minutes of regulation and in the overtime by UConn.
Flynn guarded by Walker. Now Devendorf with Price on him. Plenty of spacing. Devendorf to the glass, blocked by Adrian.
Too deep, and nothing there.
And not off any passes.
Right.
And everybody was just waiting for Eric Devendorf on that penetration. Just took him 1-on-5.
Connecticut is a fraction of a second away from its 4th straight loss in Big East tournament play. Now they have the ball in a 3-point lead with just more than 2 minutes left in overtime. Price lost it. Flynn walks away. There was contact as Adrian tried to run back, and no call as he got knocked down. I don't think he was going to catch Flynn, but he was knocked down.
Devendorf should have been called for a foul. I mean, that was a silly play. They got away with it.
And Stanley Robinson has been cramping up.
Number of the players on both sides right now look winded. Of course, Syracuse played last night. Connecticut did not. That could be an advantage for the Huskies. Wow. Robinson!
Woo! 2 for 17 from 3.
And it looked like he was really shooting as an afterthought. And I was wondering, going, Stanley, I'm not sure. Great shot.
Well, that's when you know it's officially his night. He entered tonight's action 1 out of 16 for the year from 3. And in overtime, when he's already had a season high, the 3 that makes it a 4-point game with 1:23 to go in extra time.
This is what all the college coaches that recruited him thought he was capable of. Able to drill it, and in the open floor, goodness.
Stan the man.
How about that? And this is the play, Sean. Now watch this, Sean. There's no way that that can't be called. It would have wiped out the goal. It doesn't make sense of being involved in it. He didn't get in front of him.
Yep, you're right.
Right? I mean, he did.
You're right. And Jim Calhoun complained about it, and the officials basically said it was incidental contact. Clearly not incidental.
Now, Devendorf, you could tell there, was intentionally running into the path of Adrian to make contact and wound up knocking him down.
Now, once again, Walker trying to do a job on Flynn. This could be a tough entry pass. Nice play by Robinson now.
They doubled Flynn On the inbound, and Walker almost stole it. Harris alert to tip it back to Flynn. Finally, they get it to Johnny Flynn. 1:15 to go. Routen's a tough three.
Didn't have much room either.
12 for Routens. Timeout, Connecticut. 1:04 left in overtime.
Wow, don't blink. A lot of major intestinal fortitude going on here by both clubs. This isn't much room at all. And look who's right there, Robinson. That's a good closeout.
He's coming right off that screen, locked and trailed, and he sets those feet so quickly.
If you're just joining us, it was tied with 1.1 left in regulation. The long inbounding pass got deflected to Devendorf. He hit a three-pointer that appeared to give Syracuse the win. But the question was, would it count? You knew as soon as it went in, the officials would go to the monitor. And after a lengthy review of many replay angles, they wiped off the goal correctly. It was still in the fingertips of Devendorf. And it set up an overtime that's been compelling for sure.
And Jay, you were mentioning this could be tough for Syracuse. They've responded beautifully in this overtime. They're down by a couple. No, I assume Connecticut would have a little juice going in.
Hey, what a game.
Fun. Great.
That's been sensational.
Great theater.
I don't think these teams subscribe to the theory you shouldn't try too hard to win your conference tournament with the NCAA still to come. All-out effort from two of the best teams in the country here tonight.
Rebounding now.
Down to 10 to shoot.
The beat hiding behind that zone.
And they got to do something quickly.
At the end of the clock, they get it to Price. He just hoisted one up, and Thabit couldn't rescue it. So now Syracuse could take it all the way down, just about to the final buzzer if they were so inclined, with a 1-point deficit and 36.4 to go. Routen's back in.
I think you got to go right away, right?
Yeah, you take the first good one. You got to be patient, but you certainly want to leave yourself enough time that if you don't make it, you can extend the game a little bit.
Right, offensive rebound or quick time where they had Routens could have got it in.
Harris called timeout. Sports Center's next. We love Sports Center, but tonight it's worth the wait for this entertainment. Jim Boeheim and Jim Calhoun have had some memorable head-to-head battles, and this is another on the growing list. While they talk it over, let's check in back in the studio with Reese Davis. All right, Reese, thank you for the great job as always, keeping us updated. Such a busy and important day and an important game here. You wonder if Connecticut was just a fingertip away from not being a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. This game still to be decided, and we'll see how that impacts the NCAA tournament later. But right now, what's the strategy?
Well, if they can get the ball to Johnny Flynn on the inbound, I like a ball screen being set for Flynn. And I liked it very much when he would penetrate and threw back to Andy Routens. I mean, Andy Routens has been knocking shots down. You certainly want to give him a look if you can, but I like having the ball in Flynn's hands off of a ball screen, let him penetrate and make a play.
And also they've been running those little baseline bumps, and it gives him an option of driving and kicking as well.
Harris again to throw it in. They don't guard him. Devendorf comes to the ball with Austria defending.
And Walker really doing a great job denying. There he goes.
And Flynn had to make a nice little cutback move to the ball to get it, and Walker is a pesky defender.
Here's the double high. The same play they ran for Routens earlier. Nice screen.
Got a good screen. He got a good look. A little short. Robinson the rebound. They're trying to foul him. They can't catch him. And now Harris does. 14.8 to go. And so fitting it should be Robinson to the line in this situation when he's had a memorable night.
And a pretty good challenge, too. A little bit late. Leo thinks he's now look at the big guy coming up, though. That is tough. You cannot see the rim with that big body up there.
Yeah, and clearly it was a well-run play, well defended by UConn. I'll tell you what, though, when Stanley Robinson was bringing the ball back down, he needs to get rid of it. You certainly don't want to turn it over, but you don't want to let them catch it. You want to play keep away.
He's the weakest free throw shooter on the floor for Connecticut. And the first one spun off. No timeouts for either team. So to make or a miss, the players are on their own without the benefit of any more help in a timeout from these Hall of Fame coaches.
This will decide what they tried to do at the other end.
Kemba Walker cannot allow Johnny Flynn to get the ball.
He made 1 out of 2, a 2-point game. 2 to tie, 3 for the lead, or perhaps the win for Syracuse. No timeouts left, reminiscent of Marquette Villanova early today. Flynn heads for the bucket. Flynn with the beat on him, off to Jackson. Still time for UConn, no timeouts, 4.7 to go.
Got to come up and play him.
Yeah, Syracuse lets them inbound the ball to Walker. With 2, Walker contested, and will head for double overtime.
Does it get any better?
Kemba Walker needed to get that all the way to the rim. He settled for a jump shot. He needed to get that to the rim.
They pinched him pretty good. Somebody should have gotten available for him, I think. Wild.
Flynn with his penetration. You couldn't let him catch it to start. But he just attacks off the dribble, draws all defenders, and a nice little dump down.
They just cleared everybody. And right here, Jay, they do a nice job of pinching him. See here, nobody made themselves available in any spot for him.
But don't you think he's got to go full speed and get to the rim?
And maybe circle them quickly, yeah.
He just was slow dribble up and allowed himself to get corralled.
So we'll head for a second overtime after this. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery. It is championship week and an instant classic in this Big East quarterfinal. Syracuse and Connecticut with so many twists and turns, reminiscent of so many of the battles between these teams over the years. This is the 5th multiple overtime game in Big East championship history. The last one a semifinal in 2007 between West Virginia and Louisville, won by the Mountaineers. And of course, the most memorable multiple overtime game, the 3 overtime championship final. Syracuse beat Villanova in 1981 when Leo Rowden's, Andy's dad, had the tip in and was the MVP.
A harbinger of something to come.
Syracuse controlled the tip. That's an upset with the beat on the floor. Flynn right around the Onawaku pick. Whipped a little bit on the pass, but it made it to Onawaku. Flynn sets up for a jumper. Long rebound. They're so tired. Onawaku got there first.
Look at this.
Flynn, tough shot. Onawaku got there but couldn't corral it. The push by Walker. Devendorf got back. Price, Walker. Robinson in the lane a long time. Walker hits the jumper.
And a tough shot he passed up on a smart play. Tough angle. Righted himself, squared up. A rookie at that.
And we're seeing really the first signs of fatigue.
Pretty.
Jackson fouled.
What a weak foul by Jeff Adrian. Very unlike him.
Didn't think he touched him, huh?
But why bother?
Just this kid can get to the rim and makes decisions like this. Devendorf, they are a different basketball team. Draw the attention.
Refuses the ball screen, and that's as weak as it gets from Jeff Adrian. I've never seen him do that.
His second foul. Jackson, another one of their poor free throw shooters. He's 52.5%. Did not make it. Tie game. 1 minute gone by in the second overtime. Foul trouble on each side.
Not the same decision maker here in Edwards.
The beat surrounded. Harris blocked it. Harris
pushed him.
I think he stepped out of bounds, I guess.
Apparently so in the corner. He saved the ball, but apparently stepped on the sideline in the corner.
You wrote an article on toughness. This is when you really got to reach back as a player, Jay. I mean,
mentally and physically, right?
Yeah, you got to be so much stronger with it.
Both of these coaches have coached more than 1,000 games, and you know the butterflies are churning just as they always have at moments like this.
Oh, goodness.
Robinson had to go off his leg. 3-on-2 break. Harris all the way to the goal, missed the layup.
Well, those are tough right over the front. Love to use the glass or jam it.
And now Price will pull it out. He and Flynn, 2 of the 17 finalists for the Cousy Award, best point guard in the country, and they've played like it tonight. The ball's been in their hands at the right times, and they've made a lot of great decisions.
Yeah, they really have. And here's a nice look, but unfortunately, it's not the same. It's not Adrian. Edwards going to come out now for Adrian. Tough look, though, huh? That deep.
Well, it's still a catch that you have to make.
Yep. He knows.
You wonder if there's the benefit of the bye. Connecticut had last night off. This is their first game. Syracuse played Seton Hall last night. You play all year to get one of those top 4 spots for situations just like this. Devendorf at Price, who has to be careful with 4 fouls defending. Devendorf. Onawaku rescued it. Harris, tough shot, short.
Devendorf needed to give the ball up. He's pounding into the back.
Price into the lane, fouled, and he'll go to the line with a chance to give the Huskies the lead.
Nobody stopped defensively. You got to contain the bounce.
Somehow in this foul-filled game, Johnny Flynn has managed just 1 foul.
That's nice teamwork, huh? Yeah. The big guy taking care of the little guy. That's what you used to say. Johnny, get me the ball.
Price 4 for 4 from the stripe. Andy Routens returns for Paul Harris.
I need a little offense, too. That's what that move is for. And he's got the well-oiled right arm.
Second one, no good. Onawaku with the rebound. Nearly midway through the second overtime, Connecticut a 1-point lead. Flynn lobs it up for Jackson. Tough pass. Got him behind the basket.
Got to get it out of there.
Trying desperately. Had it blocked by Adrian. Jackson's in the lane for a month. Devendorf rattled out. Onawaku the rebound. Fresh shot clock. 2:15 to go. Still a 1-point lead for the Huskies. They're catching their breath. Devendorf deflected away by Adrian, who nearly body bumped Devendorf.
They're trying to side him to keep him from using that ball screen, but that's opening up a straight line drive.
A lot of guys call that blue, where they trap that too.
Flynn with Price on him.
Same thing.
Splits the defense, collided with the beat. Devendorf. And a foul called, and Bobby Donato has it on Devendorf. Jim Boeheim almost ripped his sport coat off.
I think they both were banging one another. It was who you decided push first.
That's the second on Devendorf.
This is one of those tough ones when it goes against you, you know? Yeah. Ooh.
That's not, that's a tough call.
It doesn't look like he had the ball, and Austria kind of hip checked into him.
Yep, that's exactly what it looked like.
Austria's not been to the line tonight. 76%. Seniors played in a lot of big games for Connecticut, primarily as a role player. Thrust more prominently into the spotlight now without Dyson, and stepping up tonight after some struggles down the stretch.
And you read things about kids not being ready, not being happy. This kid, whatever they've asked him his whole career, he's done. You want me to start? You want me to come in? You want me to be a third guard? You tell me. I'll do it. He has.
And struggling coming into this game. Hits 2 big threes in the second half. Knocks down 2 free throws.
That was an enormous call. Potentially a 4-point swing. Devendorf is Syracuse's best free throw shooter. He would have been at the line had it gone the other way. Flynn to the bucket. He's fouled.
And they got to beat high. Adrian, the last line of resistance. And Flynn with a ticker, just taking it to the teeth of the D.
I'm not sure why they don't want him to use these ball screens. It's not like he's been killing them. Coming off the screen, turning the corner.
He refuses them quite often. But how about the left hand on the finish?
Well, he's such acrobatic, strong. I just don't like the straight line drive to the basket, putting the big guys in jeopardy of fouling.
And Adrian didn't exactly crush Flynn either, but Flynn will have the free throw. And he has tied it.
I'd rather force him into this, make him use the screen. Hard hedge, trap, something.
Yeah, so you can do something different.
Just about all the fans on their feet here at the Garden. Under a minute and a half to go in the second overtime. A classic in the 30th Big East Championship. Austria, good fake. Austria, the miss. Tipped out, and there's a foul. And it's on Syracuse, I believe. It's on Onawaku, and he has fouled out.
Yeah, he had leaned on the arm and knocked him down. And that, you mentioned the fatigue. That's what you do.
8 points, 9 rebounds for Arinze Onawaku in 39 minutes.
Yeah, you can see that left hand makes it easy for the official.
Yeah, but first it was Thabit that had grabbed him, and Thabit went down awfully easy there. Onawaku just got caught sort of with the second action.
You know, for a while they were kind of letting him play. Now the official's been involved in the last 3 whistles. All of them could be questioned. Both sides impacted.
You need 3 Green Berets to ref this game.
Well, they got the most important call of the night right when they waved off the goal with the benefit of replay. And West Virginia has to be enjoying this. The longer they play tonight, the better it is for Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers.
He get his suit cleaned and pressed, too.
That'll now be tonight here on ESPN as we pass midnight in the East. Thabit at the line, 3 out of 6 from the stripe tonight. 63% for the year. 2 shots both ways.
There you go, big fella.
Not sure which is going to come on first, SportsCenter or First Take.
Well, knowing you, you'll appear on both. So take your pick, as we like to say on ESPN. Connecticut, 7 out of 10 in overtime from the line.
And this helps the call.
Yep.
It was undecided, I think, until that hustle by Walker.
I think it might have been going to Connecticut.
Yeah, I think so.
Hadn't touched it out of bounds. A 1-point lead. Each team with 1 timeout. Nearing a minute to go. 1:10 and counting left in the second overtime. Connecticut's been to the line much more often in the extra sessions. Flynn, off to Jackson. He found him at the last moment. Flynn again. Oh, Devendorf is open, but dropped the pass. And now a hand check call. And that'll send Devendorf to the line for 2. Their best free throw shooter. A chance to give Syracuse the lead as Austria has been whistled for his 3rd.
Epic game, though, isn't it?
Both,
all the elements.
Both Routens and Devendorf have been circling around and back off penetration, looking to get opportunistic threes.
Devendorf long with the first one. He's played 47 minutes tonight, and they played last night against Seton Hall, and Devendorf played 35 minutes in that game. Tie game, 57 seconds to go.
You want to play 3?
It looms as a possibility. Price, Walker with Adrian, Thabit, and Robinson.
And Adrian, the guy that's been very helpful in that foul line area.
There he is. And he has Walker passed up an open 3 in favor of the drive. The miss. Robinson in the right spot. Thabit tried to flush it. Walker is there. Rejected by Jackson. And it hit Walker on the way out of bounds.
How good is that action? Wall to wall. Effort. Extension. Involvement. Above the rim.
Syracuse ball. Jim Boeheim held up one finger. He wants the last shot of the second overtime. Wants the chance to win it without giving Connecticut that chance. Walker guarding Flynn. 12 seconds to go. Double overtime. Flynn very near the center court line. Jackson screens for him. Flynn from deep. No. 4 seconds to go. Ahead it goes to Walker for the win off the back rim.
Oh, wow. We have seen a lot. This is as good as I've been involved in. What do you think?
Unbelievable. I thought that Johnny Flynn kind of settled for that jumper. You know, off the ball screen, you'd want him to turn the corner, and go.
And they were looking on the wings, too, to get in the lane. Rauten's on one side, Diedendorf on the other. This had a chance.
Yeah, if Flynn had taken that ball a little bit further, he could have looked back. But boy, this did almost go.
Oh, goodness.
Well, we will head for the third overtime, the third 3-OT game in Big East championship history. Right after this. Madison Square Garden, the site of so many memorable sporting events throughout the years, and here's another classic in the 30th Big East Championship, the 27th played in this building. Syracuse and Connecticut heading for a third overtime. It is just the second 3-overtime game in Big East Championship history. The only other one, the longest game in Big East tournament history, was that title game in 1981, played in Syracuse at the Carrier Dome when the Orange beat Villanova. Leo Rauten's the tip-in. Andy Rauten's dad, he was the MVP. And we mentioned last night, talking to Leo to reflect about it. He said, what I remember is the game needed to end because we were going on spring break and they told us we needed to get our stuff out of the dorms.
Well, yeah, I know this is past your bedtime, Sean, in the
Yes,
city of New York,
well
but
past.
it's well worth it, huh? Johnny Flynn coming over, checking in with you, Jay?
Well, coming into, he's enjoying it.
Well, he's all smiles. These players know they're part of something very special here tonight. The Beat controlled the tip. It's Price, who's played the entire overtimes with 4 fouls. Austrie for Beat. Adrian Robinson for Connecticut. Austrie off the marks. The Beat and Adrian there. Adrian, that dropped it and picked it back up himself. Gave it to Price for 3.
Great understanding of the situation, too. He was looking to dump it to Robinson.
Flynn, Harris, Jackson, Rautens, and Diedendorf. Syracuse is not a deep team. They played last night, and 2 of their regulars have fouled out. Onjan and Onawaku. Harris missed a very short one. Clearly the presence of Thabit in his mind.
Great call, Sean.
You still have to attack. You want to be judicious about it and smart, but you still have to move and still have to attack.
They pulled it all out, these two guys. Just to hang in it.
Under 4 to go, third overtime. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. Thabit fouled. He was stumbling and got bailed out by the foul.
Harris with a good foul, though. He's going to knock it in, I think, if he didn't stop.
That's 4 on Harris.
You can always you can always pick up the ball. There was nothing wrong with that at all. Kicks it out to an open shooter. A great play by Jeff Adrian, and a smart play.
Now Thabit, and it's a 4-point lead. And as tight as this game has been throughout, that seems like a very big lead.
He's been able to make the free throws coming down the stretch, too. 63%, nice form. His influence is incredible. It's not subtle either on the defensive end. He's a mountain out there.
Still a 4-point lead, largest lead of overtime. It matches the largest lead of the extra sessions. 3:40 to go.
The Beat's got to come up on this ball screen and help.
Andy's got to keep moving. Oops, unfortunate.
Yeah, just slipped. Apparently on a wet spot as Flynn tried to jam the brakes on. A tough break for Jim Boeheim in the orange. The largest lead for either team tonight was 7 points for Syracuse late in regulation.
And you know, it's interesting. The wing people are not able to get free. Much better defense on Diedendorf and Rauten. Is not able to get free as he turns the corner.
Well, they're face guarding him and intelligently not letting him get the ball.
Price into the lane, and the lead is 6.
And that ball screen that didn't shape up, Adrian influenced the defense enough.
This matches the largest lead that Connecticut has had all night. 6-point edge, 3:09 remaining in overtime. Number 3, timeout Syracuse. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, Alan Hopkins on the sideline. Big East quarterfinal number 4. A memorable day at the Big East Championship. It was tied with 1.1 to go in regulation. This was 45 minutes ago now in real time. And this 1.1 seemed like it took 45 minutes. And Devendorf's shot at the buzzer went. Looked like a 3-point win for Syracuse. The officials went to the monitor and correctly deemed that the ball was still in contact with Devendorf's fingertips when the clock hit all zeros after a lengthy look at many quality replays provided by our ESPN crew led by Bo Garrett and Chip Dean. They correctly waved the goal off. We played 2 overtimes that finished in ties since, and now we're in overtime number 3. Plenty of minutes on both sides, but bear in mind again, Syracuse played last night. Connecticut did not. Syracuse has played 7 players tonight, and 2 of the 7 have fouled out. So they're down to this 5-man unit unless Jim Boeheim wants to put somebody in who hasn't played a second tonight.
Can they reach back here now? I think they're going to do something different. Get Flynn to get others involved. They get a little pin downs. A nice little screen.
Routens
They got a bump.
bumped.
Good call. From underneath.
And that's
It would have been a turnover. I think he did get bumped when he caught it.
looked like Routens almost walked too before he got bumped.
That's the 5th and final foul for
They
Stanley
gave it to Stanley Robinson, and he is fouled out. And you could read George Blaney's lips. Okay, I think he meant it's okay. There was Robinson and not the beat at this juncture. Because with the lead, you want the big fella out there on defense.
And what a game by Stanley Robinson. And you like the fact that they were trying to take away the 3 by Andy Routens.
And what a super performance, Shay. You're right. From the get-go, he was in. And hopefully this is preparing for the NCAA as well. He plays like that. And they are going to be a very good basketball team come the end
29
of the
points,
tournament.
14 rebounds for Robinson. He missed the first 8 games of the regular season, tending to personal matters, returned for the second semester, and has taken a long time to approach his form of a year ago. Routens with his first free throw of the night. It's the first Syracuse point of the 3rd overtime. Routens 68.4% makes both. He doesn't go to the line much. Just his 39th and 40th free throws of the year. Flynn to Harris. Harris missed the layup, but he's fouled by Adrian.
Oh, he is frustrated down there. They really can press too, Jay.
But a freshman mistake by Kemba Walker, running away from the ball. You have to come back to the ball. Watch here, running away from the ball. That gives the defense a chance to step in front. You have got to come back to the ball and run the ball right into your hands.
4 fouls now on Adrian. And Harris 73% for the year and perfect tonight.
Clock stopping, getting back into this thing.
It seems like such a little thing, but especially in late game situations when you are being pressed, it is a cardinal rule. You cannot run away from the ball.
And also the passer has to recognize too. Well, that he's got to look ahead. Maybe not make that delivery.
One thing we've learned tonight, you'll be wise not to count out either team until every last fraction of a second has ticked off the clock tonight. Devendorf called for the foul, his 3rd.
And Sean, you talk about making free throws when you're tired. You know, coaches preach that. They do it in practice all the time. I mean, you're never going to shoot a free throw under game conditions when you're as tired as these guys are now.
Interesting that press. If Devendorf got on the sideline and turned it in, and fatigue a factor there, he wouldn't have fouled.
Perfect out of the hands of Price. Earlier this year became the 42nd 1,000-point scorer in UConn's terrific history. He made both.
He steps forward when the game is on the line, doesn't he?
He sure does. He is a really heady, tough kid.
And completely unafraid.
Routens for 3, a little bit long. And the rebound down to Kemba Walker, nearing the midpoint of the 3rd overtime. The ball and a 4-point lead for the 4th-ranked team in the nation, Connecticut.
You know, interesting, Syracuse got to run something else and then come back to that. Might get a little bit of an offensive thrust.
I think smart of UConn to keep attacking. Don't just stand, keep attacking.
Nice look.
Austria got Harris way up in the air, then shot a floater, flushed in. Both Adrian and Thabit were there.
Thabit wants the goal. He raised his head. Looks like Garcia last night.
And now Syracuse on the ropes with 2 minutes to go. Down by 6 in the third overtime. Flynn picked up his dribble.
A great job by A.J. Price to keep the ball from Dievendorf.
Boy, Flynn courageously there. And Harris had room at the rim because Flynn took the beat away while shooting. 15 for Harris. He's on the ball. Adrian struggles to get it in and just does get the timeout.
Wow, and Thabit was smart. He didn't pick it up and inbound that he let it go, but great pressure set up by Syracuse.
We mentioned this is the second triple overtime game in tournament history. The other was in 1981, a classic at the Carrier Dome. Eric Sandifer the steal and the slam for Syracuse. In the battle with Villanova, Alex Bradley responded. It was a game like this one. They counterpunched all night. And then in the final seconds, Andy Routen's dad, Leo Routens, the tip in. He was the tournament MVP. Syracuse beat Villanova 83-80 in 3 overtimes. And this one will at least tie that one for the longest game ever. And if Syracuse could force the 4th overtime, we'd have a new mark for longest game in this event. And following the conclusion of this game, breakfast and then Sports Center. Some of the stories they'll be covering, college hoops mayhem, and no more mayhem than we've had here tonight. Is Tiger in trouble? And Manny being Manny.
So cross screen here, and as you mentioned, Jay, stepping to the ball is essential, and then post in the half-court area.
Routens contested the pass into Adrian, and Price ahead to Walker, and now he'll put on the brakes. A minute and a half to go in the third overtime. Connecticut trying to end a 3-game losing streak at the Big East Championship.
Well, he doesn't use this screen. He gets into that left gap.
The last win in the Big East tournament, 05 against Georgetown. Adrian lost the ball. Harris to the bucket, the dunk. It's a 2-point game, a minute to go in the third overtime. The pressure from Syracuse.
Great job breaking on the post guy.
And Routens tried to slap it away from Adrian, fouled him instead. Huge free throws upcoming for the senior from Brookline, Massachusetts.
Jay, anytime you're in traffic, you got to be careful with the ball and be tough with it. Here, he's not a dribbler. He had a wing guy. Make a quicker decision.
You have to catch, face the defense, and make a play. It doesn't automatically mean catch, face, and dribble. And that's what he did, and that's what got him into trouble. It led to an easy basket, and frankly, a near walk there by Paul Harris.
He should have put a ball down there. You're right.
Jim Boeheim said something to John Cal, and now he's conferring with the folks at the scorers table. The foul is on Routens, his 4th. I don't know if there was some issue about time on the clock, and that is the issue. Mike Roberts, the standby official.
But also what it did was serve to work as a little non-timeout freeze of the shooter.
Adrian 64% for the year, but over the last 6 games, just 50%, including the 2 out of 4 tonight. He's 10 for his last 20. 2 shots.
Got to stay on the line. He's moving back on that shot.
Now if he makes it, it's still a 1-possession game. Had a chance to make it a 4-point lead. He missed them both.
Look
and the rebound for Connecticut.
The long rebound to the little guy.
Kemba Walker at 6'1". And Jim Boeheim telling his team stay back in the zone with about a 17-second difference.
Got to make sure whenever this shot goes up that there's good floor balance.
They've got to get help on the glass.
Austria, huge one. He missed it. He got another rebound, and now they have to foul. Yep. And they move it to the right man, Price. Jim Boeheim saying don't foul him, but Dievendorf didn't want to wait.
That's a tough call, though, right? The decision at that time, you know, you want to stop it. Boy, 2 big offensive rebounds on a missed free throw and a jumper, and you need help. Everybody's got to get down here. You can see the foot speed lacking on that coverage.
Long rebounds and a fatigued team. Bad combination for Jim Boeheim.
Well, don't foul him.
They wanted a foul of somebody else. Price, the veteran, short.
Diebendorf's going to tell him he's wrong.
I don't care if you played last night or you didn't. Connecticut didn't. Everybody has to be tired now.
Timeout Syracuse.
Timeout Syracuse. Jim Boeheim before the game said his biggest question was, can we rebound? And lately they haven't.
It's hurt them coming down the stretch.
If you're just joining us, you've missed the classic. I'm sure it'll be on ESPN Classic in the near future. This is the end of regulation. Diebendorf's three gave Syracuse the apparent win, breaking a 71-all tie. But it came less than a fraction of a second late on his fingertips, just as the clock went to all zero. So on to overtime they went. Back and forth they've gone. Connecticut has led more often than Syracuse in the extra sessions, including here in the third OT. That's the end of the second OT when both teams had a shot. First Flynn and then Walker. And Connecticut has built a 6-point lead. Here in the third overtime, it's down to 2. They've missed some chances to widen it, and Syracuse has missed some opportunities when they fail to rebound. Husky misses.
Even if Price makes this still a one-possession game. And if Syracuse can get something going to the basket, we can still go for a 2, but that may open up a 3.
After 3 straight misses by the Huskies, a make by Price. 3-point game, 20 seconds to go, third overtime. And now the age-old question, if you're Connecticut in the right situation, do you foul before they can shoot a 3? Routens makes it a moot point. Andy Routens for 3. 12 seconds to go. Plenty of time for Connecticut and a timeout.
Got to get to the rim.
Price, a deep NBA 3 just short. Adrian at the buzzer. No! Overtime number 4. And triple overtime agrees with the Routens family.
Oh, how good is this? Leo, you're going to have to move over on the couch, baby. Your son has...
You think Leo admit he's a better shooter now?
They would never admit it.
He's a better shooter, Leo. Watch the way he sets his feet. Just coming off that screen, it squares up beautifully.
And you know what I love about what Boeheim has done? He got away from the high ball screen because it was ineffective. Here, they go to the wing, and some nylon by Leo's little boy.
.98 apiece. We head for a historic fourth overtime right after this. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, Alan Hawkins on the sideline. Privileged to be here with an electrified crowd at the world's most famous arena. Sight of a game nobody here tonight will forget anytime soon. And here's the end of the last sequence when Connecticut had opportunities.
How often guys settle for the jump shot, Jay, instead of being creative, getting some space, turning the corner, and just creating some havoc.
Well, especially that deep. You know, you have to get that ball into the teeth of the defense if you can get to the rim. And what courage these players have shown all game long. Unbelievable.
We need some respirators. All right, Sean, back to you.
First 4 overtime game in the history of this event, and just the second ever in the history of Big East Conference play. There's been 1 4 overtime regular season game. Georgetown and Notre Dame in 2002. Georgetown beat Notre Dame 116-111. Thabit with the first bucket to get Connecticut to 100 points in the opening seconds of the fourth overtime.
And they took advantage of Andy Routen's size there. Well designed by a Hall of Famer.
Syracuse has not substituted since a minute 18 remained in the second overtime when Anna Walker was the second orange to foul out. Onjanat was the first to beat the block, but Harris was there. Jackson gets called for the charge, and that's a big call. The beat playing with 4 fouls. And Jackson has fouled out.
Not a smart move by Diebendorf to take that into Thabit, and this a clear charge on Jackson.
A little weak move by Diebendorf. He grew up too early against this guy. That's that well-designed play. Extraordinary. Taking advantage of size.
You know, a lot of college people would like to see that NBA circle in the game. on blocks and charges.
But that's one of those that wouldn't have prevailed. They both were in there.
That would not have applied.
But you're right. I would love to see it, though, Sean.
So 3 Syracuse players have fouled out, and they have had to go to the bench now for Chris Joseph, who has not played a single minute tonight. Get loose, Chris.
And look at the size of everybody out there.
He's in the middle of the back of the zone. Chris Joseph, a freshman, 6'7", 220 from Montreal. Price's shot wouldn't go. Now Thabit has fouled out. He shoved Harris out of the way.
And when he sold the deal, too, which was very smart, Paul Harris, no question, the shove, but got the attention.
Well, it is a war of attrition, but right now, the biggest impediment to getting to the rim for Syracuse is now out of the game.
It opens a lot of things up.
This game is now totally different. Totally different.
Add 6 block shots to the Beats line. He played 53 minutes.
And it doesn't look very tight over there, but Edwards now has played well. See if he can step up in the breach.
But as good as Edwards is, and he's done a nice job, he's very capable, he's not the same presence. Syracuse will not be worried at all now about attacking the rim.
Harris, 6 out of 6 from the line.
And Jay, your point well taken, because now Flynn, they can use the ball screen. He can go to the rim and actually elevate over most people.
Well, Syracuse picked a good night. They have a much better than usual night from the foul line. They're 72.2 tonight, 63% for the year. Adrian, look out. Joseph was defending. Both coaches wanted a foul. Price, the step back.
Tough delivery. Tough kid. Oh, sticking it there. Here they go.
Now it's Joseph trying to set a screen for the use of Flynn.
So he doesn't mind this. He doesn't mind this. Now, you're right.
Totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to keep attacking the 10 now. The whole game is opened up for Syracuse.
24 points, 10 assists for Johnny Flynn, his second straight double-double with 19 and 11 last night in their win against Seton Hall. Walker left all alone. His 3 was way off. He started toward the bucket immediately, knowing it was wide left.
A nice job positioning on the glass as well.
Spread them and drive them.
This could open up a little jump shot for Dietendorf or Routens. Would you help?
Syracuse has not led in any of the overtimes, and Harris missed a great chance, and he missed it again. Will the third time be a charm? It's blocked by Edwards.
Atta baby, way to hang tough. Get it.
Well, that first one was an easy layup. He just missed it.
He's missed a lot right around the rim. Earlier in the night, you could understand because the beat was in there, but Edwards a long presence as well at 6'9".
Nice split.
Price all the way to the goal. Hits the floater. 2 minutes to go, fourth overtime. Connecticut by 2. Dietendorf goes by Austri and gets the roll. Tied at 104, 150 to go.
Totally unafraid to go to the rim now. This is totally different than we saw earlier.
And he is great with that left hand getting to the rim.
Dietendorf played 56 minutes, had enough in the tank to blow to the goal. He has 22 points. A minute and a half left, fourth overtime. 15 to shoot for Connecticut.
Got to keep him outside.
And they've done a good job of that. Austri with 10 to shoot. Austri to Adrian. Off for Walker. The runner, no. And Joseph just into the game. Lost it, and then Edwards had it go off his fingertips.
Should be waving him up over the timeline. Worried about a 10-second call.
You hug up on shooters. That's going to open up these drives.
Stunning to believe in the fourth overtime. Syracuse has not led in any of the overtimes. But that's what we hear from the official stats table. 5 to shoot. Flynn needs to go. Flynn discarded. A defender missed the reverse. Adrian the rebound after Walker hit the deck, and he's hurt.
Looks like he's cramped.
Oh my goodness, what a great basketball move. The expression by Jimmy Boeheim priceless. He got everything he wanted. And hopefully it is only a cramp on the other end, but look at this handle and strength. That is incredible. Use the rim, everything perfect. A little too much spin. Great expression.
Boeheim can't believe it. First, the 3 misses from close range by Harris, and now that one. And Johnny Flynn, who's played 57 minutes tonight after playing last night. That's a well-deserved breather. We're back at the 30th Big East Championship in a game unlike any other in the proud history of this event. 38.3 to go, 4th overtime. Syracuse and Connecticut tied at 4. Sports Center is next, and I don't think the entire show would be long enough to recap this game. Syracuse played last night. Connecticut had a bye. This is their first game of the tournament. Devendorf, 57 minutes. Flynn, 56. Harris, 45. Devendorf and Flynn played 35 last night, and Harris 24.
And so maybe the key for Connecticut has been the ability of Price to stay on the floor and contribute. And he is, and then counter that with Syracuse, 2 easy shots at the rim. You almost think that they were feeling to beat.
Well, I know they're not thinking about this, but what could the winner possibly have left for tomorrow night? They've laid it all on the line in this game.
They sure have. And what a pleasure.
Connecticut ball, 6.3 seconds difference between the shot clock and the game clock. 1 timeout left for each team. Price will handle with Austrian, Walker, Edwards, and Adrian. Thabit and Robinson have fouled out for Connecticut.
I get into something now. Don't get stuck late in the shot clock.
They're up on Price. He gets an Edwards screen, 8 to shoot. Price, floater, no. Routens has it and has time, 7 seconds left. Routens has help. Flynn underneath. Harrison close, missed again. Harris one more time. No! A nightmare for Paul Harris at the rim tonight.
Oh. What better opportunity?
No Thabit, no dice.
Oh. Goodness.
Jim Boeheim wanted the foul.
We got a 5-bagger. Well, they don't call those readily.
No
crunch time. So the precedent in this overtime, though, getting to the rim and not able to convert.
You can't ask for a better opportunity than Paul Harris had right at the rim.
And nice give by Routens here, and then the extra pass. Look at this. This is one of those. Maybe a piece on that release too. And we mentioned Edwards coming into the game, a big influence on that particular play.
Well, what a challenge! Now first by Walker, but then the great challenge here by Adrian and by Gavin Edwards.
I like the non-call too, don't you?
Yes.
Easy, Jimmy. Oh, Julie, they stole my pablum.
You would have thought these 2 Hall of Fame coaches had seen everything in their careers, but neither of them has ever seen anything quite like this. Back at Madison Square Garden, 12:50 Eastern Time, and plenty more basketball still to come. This is the first ever 5th overtime in Big East history, regular season or tournament, surpassing the 4 overtimes played in a regular season in 02. Georgetown and Notre Dame. The tip gets batted around to Price.
It's a game of little people right now.
Price to Austri with Walker, 3 guards on the floor, Adrian and Edwards.
Johnny Flynn going without his headband gave out.
Probably so drenched in sweat you wouldn't want to have it on your head anymore.
Nice penetration by Walker.
And Walker called for the charge as he ran over Chris Joseph, the newcomer.
You know, the dilemma right now for Connecticut is Adrian is the beat in the set. Edwards is now Adrian. He's the guy that's going to make some decisions on the foul line. I don't think he's quite up to that as well as Adrian has been able to do it.
Still doing a lot of research in this historic game. We know that Connecticut has never played a 5-overtime game. The Syracuse people still going through the archives. Harris the miss. Joseph trying to keep it alive. And it winds up with Gavin Edwards. So each team in possession in overtime 5. Neither has scored. Price has played all of the overtimes with 4 fouls. He picked up his 4th foul late in regulation. Routens, Harris, and Devendorf all have 4 for Syracuse. Adrian and Price with 4. Edwards with 4 for Connecticut. And the turnover gives Syracuse the chance for the lead. And Flynn called for the charge.
Great footwork. The other end, Edwards, not the guy you want making decisions, but terrific setup defensively. Look at this anticipation, and he was set.
Just nowhere to go.
Oh.
Great job by Kemba Walker.
Remarkably still, not a single lead in any of the overtimes from Syracuse. They've had to rally back time and time again to tie, never able to take the lead. Their last lead was at 71-69.
Now, this is the only guy that looks fresh out there. I'm telling you, he's got legs, he's got confidence, he's got wind. He's got mental toughness is what he's got. That's what he's got.
Kid is a winner.
And he has the first 2 points of overtime number 5. 3:15 to go. Devendorf nearly slipped. Devendorf guarded by Austria. Devendorf played over 90 minutes the last 2 nights. Chris Joseph was in the right spot. Chris Joseph again. Harris couldn't tip it. Walker has the ball. 3 minutes to go, 5th overtime. And Connecticut with the ball on a 2-point lead.
Edwards has done a nice job challenging shots. He's not Hasheem Thabit, but he has given it his all there and made it very difficult for Syracuse to finish some close inlands.
Well, he and Adrian might have saved the game on Harris there at the end of the 4th overtime. There's Edwards again, tipping it to the corner. Routen's a good catch. Has Austria right on his back. Devendorf take the 3 and missed the pull-up. Adrian kept it alive. Great save on the end line by Kemba Walker as he went crashing into the photographers.
Well, he's coming up big. He's hurting right there. They're going to need cabs to get from one end of the floor to the other.
You know, as tired as everybody is in this game, one thing you cannot do is foul people and let them go to the free throw line to score something easy. Make them shoot over you.
Price again splitting the defense. He's done it all night long. And now Devendorf has fouled out, and they'll have to go to another player who hasn't played a second all night long.
Well, what a play by Kemba Walker. Saved this ball, and a nice catch alert by Jeff Adrian. That's a winning play by Kemba Walker.
Come up big, picked up that charge, that particular play.
Devendorf, 22 points, 4 assists, and of course, on a historic night when many images will be remembered, none more so than his 3 at the buzzer. That was waved off at the end of regulation when it looked like he had given Syracuse a 3-point lead. Justin Thomas, a walk-on, has come in for Syracuse. He has played in 9 games this year for a total of 21 minutes and has scored 4 points all season long. That's how deep down the bench they are now.
Asking a lot, but much has been given too.
Price.
And that's why you don't want to foul. I mean, I know Devendorf was giving his all on that play, but it allows them to score too easily. Make it, you got to make them make a tough shot when they're exhausted. And the same goes for UConn on the other end. Worst play right now is the foul.
17 points in the 5 overtimes for Price. 31 for the game. 2 minutes to go. Syracuse has not scored in this 5th overtime.
Giving him that, and wide open. Austria's got to face him that way. Little blow by.
And they just retreat back and get in that zone. They have no energy left to full court press unless it is absolutely necessary.
The only guy moving is Justin Thomas.
He's out there doing jumping jacks trying to get loose while everybody else is just trying to cling to whatever they have left.
He's having a ball. Why not? Fresh legs.
You think he was sitting on that bench tonight thinking he was going to get into the fifth overtime? There's Adrian from the free throw line. It clanged off. Edwards kept it alive. Now it's Flynn. 2 to tie 3 for the first lead of any overtime for Syracuse tonight. Routens was begging for the ball on the left. And Boeheim wants a timeout with 1:13 to go. It is officially the first 5 overtime game in the proud basketball history of either of these great institutions. More to come. Back in Madison Square Garden, the historic 5th overtime, longest game in Big East history, tournament or regular season, longest game in the history of these two schools. Connecticut a 2-point lead. This was approximately an hour and 20 minutes ago, the end of regulation, when Eric Devendorf, a desperation shot, appeared to win the game for Syracuse. It was 71 all. The bucket was counted good by James Breeding, the nearest official, but then when they went to the monitor, they waved it off correctly as the ball was barely on the fingertips of Eric Devendorf.
If Devendorf had trimmed his fingernails this morning, that shot probably would have been good.
That's how close that call was. Go to somebody else, right, Jay? Don't you think? Maybe get Andy a touch.
I think Routens is the guy you look for. You know, set the ball screen, have him loop around behind.
And here they come with that double. He's got it.
Routens. Austria got out there quickly. 20 to shoot for Syracuse. 1:05 left in this overtime. Syracuse has never led in any of the overtimes. Maybe the most amazing aspect of this game. Flynn! And he would have had a chance to give them their first lead of the overtime. Had that one dropped, and Jim Boeheim probably wants to walk over to that rim and rip it down. It's been unkind to Harris and now to Flynn.
I'll tell you what, Sean, he made a move there that was incredible. He did the wise thing, dribbled out, and now he assesses the situation and the energy to attack and get himself in that position.
And Edwards, who's done a very nice job, really is the stand-in for Thabit in the role of shot blocker and changer. He has now fouled out. And now all of the tall trees are gone for Connecticut. Scotty Harrelson checks back into the ballgame. He's played 2 minutes tonight early on. Edwards 4 points, 10 rebounds, 5 block shots, and his hands active in a number of key other situations.
And you know, with Harrison on the floor, Syracuse, they're fatigued. Intellectually, they're not being on top of the game. They've got to recognize he is a three-point specialist. Not the highest percentage, but that's what he does.
Flynn is 8 out of 8 from the line tonight, and 9 for 9.
Boy, the toughness you need to step to the line this exhausted to knock down pressure free throws. That's big time.
Made them both, and the second didn't even touch the rim. Tied again at 1:08, under a minute to go. Is it possible there could be a 6th overtime?
Keep Price in front of you if you're Syracuse, and rebound if you're Adrian.
I might put Austria into the middle.
That's what they should do. Run a guard to get Harrelson.
They put Harrelson just into the game. Just off the bench. He's played 2 minutes all night. 2 to tie, 3 for the lead. The shot clock and game clock almost in sync. You'd have to think Boeheim, with the choice, would go for the win here with an exhausted team. Flynn wanted to tie. Harrelson fouled him. He exploded to the bucket in the 5th overtime of his 2nd game in as many nights.
We talked about Price with energy, Sean. You're absolutely right. A burst of energy. His attack, but how about the sprint to the middle, Jay? Great flash by a kid who's known as a shooter.
Great flash and great poise. And talk about poise and toughness. Johnny Flynn. How does he have any gas left in the tank? Sean, you said it. He exploded to the rim. And now stepping to the line. This is big-time pressure.
He thought he missed that one. Had enough energy to hop up and down as it was on the way. He got the bounce. He's the owner of 30 points. Timeout, Jim Calhoun.
Every clinic these two guys have ever gone to has come into play this evening. All their learning process exhibited here at the highest level.
These guys are running on fumes. Forces them away from the screen, which I don't like. It's just giving them a straight line drive. And that leads him right into that foul. Just an explosion.
And Walker looked tired there, didn't he? He didn't even move his feet.
And big late buckets from free throws from Flynn, and for Connecticut, Harrelson. We talked about how little Justin Thomas has played for Syracuse. Harrelson's appearing in just his 14th game of the year. He had played a total of 55 minutes all season as a freshman, and most of them very late in the year.
Absolutely. They could put him in 6 for 20 from 3, but that sprint and confidence.
Well, here are the brackets later tonight. Louisville and Villanova and West Virginia
Later tonight.
in front of the TV with the pom-poms out, cheering for as many overtimes as these two teams can provide. Chance to win. Syracuse has made 13 out of 15 free throws in the overtimes. Price, Austri, 7 seconds. Price, Flynn on him. Price from very deep, off the mark, in the corner. Adrian, no! Overtime number 6 coming up from New York City.
Adrian's had the last couple of finishing shots unable to convert, but once again, settling deep, Jay, not going to the rim.
Yo, Adrian could not deliver the knockout punch. Incredible. It's the 30th Big East championship. It should probably count as the 31st as well. Heading for an historic 6th overtime. Syracuse and Connecticut tied at 110. Syracuse has never led in any of the overtime sessions. The officials are over here. John Kell and Bob Donato, 2 veterans who have Final Four experience. They've never seen anything like this. The longest game in the history of college basketball, Division I, 7 overtimes in 81, Cincinnati and Bradley. And give the officials credit, because there have been very few issues or questions regarding the officiating too. It's part of a classic because they've allowed it to be.
You know what they were saying is that they're so happy they got it right, that it was on his feet, at the fingertips. And that really good piece of technological equipment, hard truck, and the officials getting it right.
They tell us the final score of that 7 overtime game, by the way, was Cincinnati 75 and Bradley 73. 7 overtimes and they only got to 75-73.
No shot clock.
In 81?
Yeah, 81, you're right. 86, right there.
We're just tuning in. Jackson, Onawaku, Onjanot, and Devendorf have all fouled out 4 starters. Syracuse only plays 7 or 8 men routinely. They have a walk-on in the game.
John, do we have any birthdays today?
Robinson, Thabit, and Edwards have all fouled out for Connecticut. Price has played the entire overtime sessions with 4. Adrian has 4. Needless to say, neither one of these teams can really afford to lose any more key players. Routins looks fresh as a daisy.
They lost him, Sean.
First lead of any overtime for Syracuse in the opening seconds of the 6th asterisk session. Harrelson launched a long 3, and the walk-on Justin Thomas could not rescue him.
And what happened, Jay? Routins got lost. Price was looking over here to help, and all of a sudden he comes up a little bit late. They were trying to exchange people. A great read, and look at the feet set beautifully.
And he doesn't need much time to get it off. And what an unbelievable performance. Walk.
And that's the call. Donnell Beverly has come into the game here in the 6th overtime for Connecticut.
Syracuse cannot forget about attacking the rim. Even though they've gotten some open looks from the perimeter, they still have to get to the 10.
Beverly and other players played only 60 minutes all year over 14 games. Sophomore guard number 2, he's defending Paul Harris. Tough match there for Beverly. Harris finally gets one to go at the rim.
And nobody around to control or negate.
Price to Austri with Walker, Adrian, and Beverly for Connecticut. Very tough Price. A shot by Price, well short. Great defense by Flynn. And now will Syracuse stay on the prowl? No. Jim Boeheim says, let's milk it.
And still run your stuff.
Routens is feeling it, though. A little bit short. And the rebound down to Price.
And Beverly with a great checkout.
Austri wants one. Long. The shots are getting quicker as the fatigue takes its toll even more.
No legs. If you've got the chance to get the ball to the basket, you have got to take it. Give yourself a chance to get fouled and give yourself a higher percentage shot.
And I love the way they've changed the offense now. A lot of baseline stuff.
Joseph, the freshman, way short. He hasn't scored yet. He is only playing because of the foul outs. Price to Austri. Austri off the mark. Rebound by Justin Thomas. Who? Justin Thomas, the walk-on. In his 10th game of the year. If you're wondering, that is his first rebound of the season.
And I think they should go with the perimeter guys and let them do the damage. I think that's what Jimmy would like as well.
Flynn, Thomas, Routens, dished it off. Harris missed another dunk. Harris fouled and it counts.
The setup by Routens off the bounce.
It's the attack of the rim. You attack off the dribble, and you're going to get some good things. And Syracuse has been smart to do so. Drawing the defense, no charge, not the legs to dunk it, but he finished the play with contact. He stuck with it to his credit. That's a big-time play by Paul Harris.
Jay, when's the last time you think he missed a dunk like that? 8th grade, maybe,
yeah,
huh?
Maybe.
Oh, just you're right.
Tonight,
no springs.
That rim at that end has been so cruel to Paul Harris, and even after he scored and was fouled, Jim Boeheim was gesturing at him as if, get it away from that rim. Put it in the bucket. He's been right at that cylinder all night long.
That's caused more problems than to beat.
Anytime they can get the ball to Harris, he can face up his man. He's a right-hand driver, but I think he's the guy they got to use to get the ball to the rim again and again.
24 points for Harris, 16 of them in the overtimes. Flynn is 30, Routens has 20. And now Calhoun, who led or was tied throughout all the first 5 overtimes, in serious jeopardy midway through the 6th. Whoa! Walker almost lived up to his name. Harrelson, the miss. Walker to the bucket. And now nothing will drop for Connecticut. Adrian was stripped. And it was Price in the right spot after Routens knocked the ball free. And Jim Calhoun will use a timeout. Down by 6 with 2:14 to go in overtime number 6. Back at Madison Square Garden. All right, Bill, take off your glasses and give me the top line.
That looks like Sudoku.
It looks like my front 9.
Tied at 71. At the end of regulation. Bear in mind, Connecticut has not lost a game this year, 23-0 and leading at the half. That was a couple of months ago. And then Syracuse at no point in any of the first 5 overtimes had the lead. They battled from behind the entire time. And in a game like this with so much pressure, you have to feel like so much more pressure when you're constantly playing from behind.
Extraordinary performances by both teams. But Syracuse in this latest overtime, we don't know how many more there may be. I think their attack of the rim has been the difference in the game and the real key.
You look at Syracuse, their perimeter guys right now are better. I mean, they can do some things. They can post up. They're more maneuverable. And unfortunately, Jim Calhoun, a lot of guys settling for jump shots and not getting to the rim.
Well, wake up your friends.
Get a tape of this one. Good pressure.
Whoa, Harris got hit in the face by Harrelson, no doubt about that call. This guy raised his hands in the air as if he said, didn't mean to do that.
Indestructible, though. I think it'd be awfully tough to hurt this guy.
And Syracuse, with a sometimes torturous history of the free throw line, has stayed in the game tonight and perhaps will win it largely because of the free throw shooting. They're 76% from the line tonight. And Harris is now 9 out of 9.
Why doesn't he put Devendorf? Oh, that's right. Oh, goodness. All the starters on the Pines with foul problems.
Syracuse is 18 for 20 from the line in the 6 overtimes. The lead back to 8, nearing 2 minutes left in overtime 6.
Somebody got to flash that post again. There's Adrian.
It is a guards game now. Price to the rim. Missed it. Harris the rebound.
He's some rebounder, this kid.
And look at Adrian diving on the floor in the 6th overtime. He's played 54 plus minutes tonight.
A great ticker that kid has. Great leadership qualities.
How about Syracuse with only 3 regulars on the floor?
Flynn has played 100 minutes last night and tonight now against Seton Hall in Connecticut. Jim Boeheim gets the timeout with 1:47 to go. I don't think when this day began, Jim imagined he'd be telling Justin Thomas what he'd need to be doing in the 6th overtime tonight.
He wasn't in the game plan. He wasn't on the board, but this guy was, Sean.
Johnny Flynn has been a man all game long, coming off that high ball screen
and the high bounce,
getting to the rim and challenging, but especially in the overtime periods. You know, his ability to break down and take it right at Hasheem Thabeet a couple times.
He actually became energized when the headband snapped. Picked it up
that was
a
the
level.
unlucky headband. They couldn't get the lead with the headband in the overtime. You know, he's already, as a sophomore, come to be regarded as one of the very best point guards in Syracuse history, and it had some great ones like Sherman Douglas and Pearl Washington, and the list goes on and on. But this takes you from terrific player to legendary status.
And also nationally, too. A lot of people now are aware how good this young guy is.
Out of the timeout, 1 left for each team. Ooh, went to the bucket and was wide open, and Harris didn't give it to his old high school teammate.
And look at him sprint to come get it. That's what you love in a point guard.
Well, just what we need. Fouls to lengthen the game. Walker commits the foul. They have to do it. This game tipped off at 9:36 Eastern time. It is now 1:17 a.m.
If I get to the diner first, what kind of eggs you like?
You're not going for an egg first. I know you.
If I have an egg, you know I'm not feeling well.
7 players have fouled out.
2 shots.
Usually the baseball summary, you get time of the game 3 hours and 40 minutes, but you rarely get that in a basketball broadcast. The Niagara Falls boys haven't missed a free throw tonight. Flynn 13 out of 13.
When you're exhausted, the mental toughness shown by Syracuse in these overtime periods has been truly remarkable.
The 10-point game. A minute and a half to go in the 6th overtime. Walker has it run down by Price. How about his performance? Routen's blocked it.
Well, his dad couldn't do that either.
Well, his dad could only go 3 overtimes.
The connection appropriate, huh? Price wanted to go, I think.
It may sound like a silly question, but if it stays this way, do you think Jim Boeheim would be more proud of the performance that won him the national championship that night in New Orleans, or what this group of players has done for him here tonight?
Well, that was more meaningful, but I think the performance here just tells you, I got some kids who love this game, will give me anything.
A different kind of pride.
Yep. But I can't imagine the coach could be any more proud.
No.
He already experienced the ultimate joy in his profession.
Yeah, and conversely, right.
2 shots.
Price has just fouled out. You really want to stand up and clap for these young men as they leave the game. Harris's first free throw missed of the night.
This is one of those games where you don't want to say there isn't a loser, but there's a survivor. I mean, both teams have battled their hearts out.
This is an encore game, Sean. The game ends, people should stand and applaud both clubs.
I've never done it in my career, and I think we should tonight.
I would agree.
For these young men. Walker, the floater, still a minute 10 to go. And in the true Connecticut tradition, the Huskies fighting all the way to the end. And they get a turnover as Flynn's pass was deflected. Austria the other way. Harrelson trying to make it interesting. Like it hasn't been interesting enough. 2-possession game. Flynn has Routen's on the wing.
Smart.
And Donnell Beverly fouls him with 50.4 to go. Syracuse a little bit sloppy with some rare breathing room, and Connecticut is still in it.
And he was close to the out of bounds there, too.
Was.
Not knowing where. Well, you've righted himself at the end, but he's known the gunslinger from Mississippi.
Well, in early returns for the Big East Championship MVP, there's a long way to go. Johnny Flynn is leading all ballots, 19 and 11 last night. And tonight, 34 points, 17 in the overtimes. And it's Routens. And they can feel it now, and they're too tired to even stand up and cheer on the Syracuse bench. Even their fans are quiet, and they have made the loudest noises tonight. Outnumbering the Connecticut fans, and Paul Harris egging them on.
Well deserved right now.
There's great courage on both sides. What a game.
There's only been one game ever longer at this level in college basketball, and given the significance, the history, clearly one of the most remarkable games in the history of this sport.
How good has this been? This is when people say, I was there. There were, what, 18 or 19,000 here. They're going to be 36 saying they were there.
And tomorrow night, if Syracuse hangs on, and we are already learned the lesson, don't concede anything until the clock is officially at 0. Syracuse will start 2 managers, an equipment man.
Did Bernie find anybody else to believe with?
A couple of assistants. Walker a miss. Beverly ran it down. Austrian air ball. They are just totally spent.
Jim Calhoun saying no fouls.
And everybody applauding here. Let me tell you, this was great. This is a tribute to loving the game and putting it all on the line.
And Jim Boeheim's not a very emotional guy, as we know, but I think you could see on the expression in his face that there are a lot of emotions in that 64-year-old Hall of Famer's body right now.
Wow. The refs deserve it, too. That was great.
Applauding for both teams. Remarkable.
Unbelievable effort.
Johnny Flynn played 67 minutes, had 34 points, 11 assists, 17 of the 34 in the 6th overtime. Paul Harris had 29 points, 21 in the overtimes. He had 22 rebounds. Devendorf had 22 before he fouled out. Routens had 20, including a huge 3. If you can remember which overtime that one was in your mind, is clearer than mine. Price with 33 and 10 assists before he fouled out. Robinson 28 and 14. Thabit 19, 14, 6 blocks before he fouled out. The semifinals are set. Louisville and Villanova at 7 Eastern time. And Syracuse will be back on this floor at 9 o'clock Eastern time to take on West Virginia. Mike Tranghese, the commissioner of the Big East, over to shake our hands, and what a fitting send-off for him in his final Big East championship as commissioner. Let's go to Alan Hopkins.
Coach Boeheim, you thought Eric Devendorf had won it for you 2 hours ago in regulation. How did your team persevere and come out on top?
I just got to tell you, I'm more proud of this team tonight than any team I've ever coached, because we had nothing. We had nobody out there for a long time. Connecticut had their good players for a couple, 3 overtimes. We finally got them out of there, and then it was kind of even. But the heart we showed coming back from 6 points down in 1 overtime, the plays we made, I've never been prouder of a team than these guys tonight. They just kept fighting. They would not lose this game. I'm very proud of this team. I can't say enough about them. And this guy next to you has got the biggest heart of anybody I've ever seen.
Johnny Flynn was incredible. How terrific was his performance tonight, particularly in the overtime?
He was unbelievable the whole game. I mean, he was really spectacular. I don't know how he could last that long and do what he did. I really don't. Andy made some threes. I don't know where he got them from. You know, you draw up plays and you just hope. And tonight they worked, but it's because of these kids. They were unbelievable tonight.
All right, thanks, Coach. Johnny, what a game. What did you keep telling your teammates after each successive overtime?
You know, first and foremost, I just want to give all the glory to God. If it wasn't for him, we want to pull the game out like this. But, I just kept telling my teammates, this is destined for us. We down 5 with 1.5 minutes left, and somehow we come back and tie it up. I said, we played this long, all we could do is win the game. So I just give it to my teammates. We played hard and really got a good win over here.
Congratulations on an incredible win. You got to play West Virginia tonight, so get some rest.
Definitely.
We'll see you down the road. Back to you, Sean.
Justifiable pride from the Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim. 6 overtimes. Syracuse never led in any of the first 5. They outscored Connecticut 17-7 in the 6th to win 127-117. Coming up next, stay tuned for Sports Center. And for a wrap-up of this game, stay tuned to Sports Center and on ESPN News. You'll be seeing it for a long time, folks. For Jay and Bill and Alan, Sean McDonough, very privileged to be here with these men. Good night from New York.